Hello everyone. I'm Lonee Appleton. This is My Life is a Classroom. I'm here Monday through Saturday, presently on TikTok Live, but ultimately will be moved over to YouTube, Lonee Appleton Lives. So be sure to subscribe. But we are here. And we are here. I'm talking to myself. It's a little weird getting going talking to myself, but I understand, I look forward to the day where, I hop on here and we just start flowing, We all know what this is. I know right now we're building the audience. And I appreciate each and every one of you for joining and stopping in and seeing what My Life is a Classroom is all about. Welcome, skater. And how are you doing today? How's everyone doing? The premise of my live is for us just to discuss life. Discuss my life, what's happening, using it as a classroom so that we can better evolve ourselves and become better versions of ourselves. I feel life is the best classroom. Why must we go out and seek information from outside sources when our inside sources are the best source of information? So I've been learning from myself since I was about 15. I guess we all learn from ourselves, right? But I intentionally started learning from myself when I was 15 years old because I did not have likable energy, likable personality traits, and I wanted to be likable. And it wasn't just so much that that other people didn't like me, but also I didn't like myself. So I did the work to do that. In becoming the observer in my life in that respect, and I really was just judging myself and being very judgmental about myself. Going about it the wrong way or the wrong energy, but the methodology was there, and that's something that I've discovered in this time of healing and evolving my family. Something that I have realized is the actions that we're doing, or I don't know what everyone's doing, but the actions that we're doing within our lives are potentially correct actions. It's the energy behind the actions. It's the mental space behind the actions. Are you connected to spirit while you're choosing or making these decisions for your life? Or are you making those decisions for your life based on what you think should happen, based on reactionary brain? So the conscious decision to show up for yourself daily. So this morning I was really excited. Welcome, Black Queen. I was really excited to get down and do my altar work. Good. Welcome, Lisa. How's everyone doing today? I was really excited to get to my ancestral altar after the night that I had last night. I know my family isn't 100% on board with me pulling out my camera every time we're having an amazing moment. Welcome to the live. But it's just so much goodness and so much healing. We have entered a space where we are rapidly overturning and we are rapidly healing. And so every conversation that we're having is progressive. And everyone is always taking an opportunity, whether they cognizantly are doing it or not. Everybody's taking this opportunity to grow and to show that they're not where they were the time before. Like this morning, me and Dre got into a back and forth about them calling me lazy yesterday. And I was like, I'm not lazy. I'm just not doing the things that you guys have put on my plate simply because I'm a wife and a mother. Good morning. Good afternoon. Definitely. It's 12 on the West Coast. So it is definitely something else on the East Coast and on the other side of the pond. So good day to everyone. I don't think we say good morning anymore anyway. Welcome, Jocelyn. Thank you, Flo, for joining. Welcome, everyone. We are talking about my family calling me lazy. And I wrote a long-ass Facebook post that I want to read. I didn't read it after I wrote it. I just wrote it and posted it. But I'm curious what it says. And I think there's some good talking points in there, so we're going to get into that. But me and Dre had a conversation this morning, and I was so into telling him, you know, my feelings and my thoughts. And typically when I'm sharing my feelings and my thoughts, he just sits there and he scrolls his phone, or, you know, he sits there and he stares off and he doesn't respond to me. And so I was like, I would like for you to give me a response. I don't want this to be met with silence. And so he left and took the kids to school, which is a task that historically, welcome to the live, I'm Lonee Appleton. My life is a classroom, and we were just talking about my life experiences so that we can learn from them. So him taking the kids to school is a new phenomenon. Last year, I was primarily, or all the years up until this year, I was primarily responsible for taking the children to school, and he would be doing me a favor on the times that he would take the kids to school. But since right now, we're down to just his Jeep, and I don't like driving the Jeep, so I kind of have just backed off to the space where, hey, if the kids are getting to school, the only vehicle that's there is your Jeep. So, you know, so we have defaulted to him taking the kids to school. And I know in the physical world, it looks like he's taking the kids to school because he's the one with the vehicle. But what's stopping me from getting in the Jeep and taking the kids to school? But in the spiritual realm, I see how responsibilities and roles are shifting and changing within our dynamic. And they're not shifting and changing in a bitter way. We're having a conversation and I need you to pick this up and I need you to do this. Things are just starting to naturally shift and change. But last night, Bailey kicked back and she was like, why am I cooking all the time? Mom, why aren't you cooking? And I was just like, because the dynamic has shifted. It was an unspoken shift that has taken place where a lot of the things that I have been primarily responsible for because I am mom or because I am wife, I'm not responsible for those things anymore. One, because why am I responsible for everything? And two, because I see in the physical world, it doesn't make sense for one person to be primarily responsible for the house. And Dre has always sat behind, I work all day, I make the money, why do I gotta come home and do stuff? And a byproduct of this financial space that we're in, and we all should be learning from this. Angel should be learning from it, Michael should be learning from it, Caden should be learning from it, Bailey, myself, and Dre. All of us, to make sense of this space that we're in, we all should be learning a lesson from it. And so, hold on. But if I do that, okay, never mind. We all should be learning from this space that we're in. And so Dre came to me this morning, and when he was talking, he was like, well, I have time to help around the house now because I'm not making the money I used to make. And I was just like, that's exactly what I told Spirit. You need to pull this from this, because I'm pulling all kinds of things, but I don't know what Dre is pulling from this. But today he confirmed for me what I was believing was something that was necessary for him to learn. Right now, his value as a man is in being a provider. His value as a man is being able to get up, go to work, and get the money. You know, and so our argument throughout our history was like, you know, I need help. You don't do nothing. You stay home all day. I stay home all day, but I work from home just because presently my work's income is do the work, income come. I'm building my business. You know what I'm saying? Presently, I'm building my business. But that doesn't mean that I don't get up and go to work every day. And so we had to have that conversation. Welcome, Christmas. Hey, welcome. Meta, welcome. And so it's not that I don't work. It's that my work income just isn't coming in presently. And my husband, who is an entrepreneur, and he's a barber, and he had to build his business. Thank you for the hearts and the love. I appreciate it. You know, my husband is a barber, and he had to build his brand from zero. How are you, Meta? How's your day going? I'm just rambling right now. in my room of one, so I'm not really talking about much. We had a conversation yesterday. I guess I'll leave that. I'm putting stickers over the numbers because I keep focusing on the numbers up there, and then it kind of just throws me off my groove because I'm sitting here talking to myself, and I don't want to just talk to myself, so I just put a sticker up there so I can't see who's in here with me, and I could just give this what it gives because I repost my lives on YouTube, Lonee Appleton Lives, so it doesn't really matter who is here presently. The lives will be downloaded and put over there so that those who need it can receive it. But if I sit here and waste my time just rambling because, the number's 0 and my energy is low and I'm not giving what it needs to be given, then, so until I'm able to master myself and not care about that number, because I know that number doesn't matter, but once I master that, I can remove the sticker. But for now, I need to be like, I don't want to see it. So yeah, going through what we're going through, I was able, and thank you so much for the love and the likes. It's really interesting. A lot of people don't know how to work social media. I didn't know how to work social media until I met a woman by the name of Shay, who taught me how to use social media. Before, I would just be scrolling aimlessly, sometimes I would like something, sometimes I would comment. But now that I understand the business of social media, I understand that these people who are putting their life into their content, and I know because I do it, these people who are putting their life into their content, they're doing it so that they can receive something from it. They're doing it so they can receive views. They're doing it so they can receive likes, so they can receive comments, shares, grow their platform, do whatever their goal is to do. And so I didn't understand that as a consumer, but as a actual content creator, because that's how I identify now. As a content creator, I understand the importance of the support. So I appreciate all of the support, Meta. With my the point that I was making with Dre is, prior to this financial space, Dre stood on the fact that he made the money and he can stand behind I make the money. And something that I received is, there's going to come a time in the very near future, because the breakthrough is coming. Divine has told me that the breakthrough is coming. Angel was like, you told us 6 months ago. And I was like, if you can't see the strides that we have made as a family in 6 months, and yes, I did promise riches in 6 months, but no, we have made such amazing strides as a family in the past 6 months. We can't overlook that just because I was focused on the monetary. I didn't know what was coming in 6 months. I just knew the work that we're doing is going to pay off in 6 months, and it has. And so I was talking to Dre this morning, and he was like, well, I told him the difference between me and you historically has been, you have a choice to help, and I'm blessed that he chooses to help. But in everybody's eyes, even within his own eyes, he's like, I'm choosing to be assistance to the home. And I was like, that's unfair to me, because in reality, I work more hours in a day than my husband does. If I'm awake, I'm working. I work so much that my hands are swollen. And yes, I do believe it's a byproduct of the sugar I started consuming again. I'm about to get back off the sugar. But I also believe it's from constantly pressing the buttons and turning and stretching my finger to and holding the phone, because I can feel, as I move my hands, I can feel the different discomforts within my hands. And I know they're a byproduct of me constantly doing these things with my hands on the phone. So I'm working so much that I am causing injury, and I need to figure out how to, I don't know, when I go to try to access my TikTok on the desktop, it defaults to my art page. It doesn't come to this page. So I have to figure out how to access this page via desktop, because that would really help my hands a lot. I've slowed down on the amount of videos that I record, and then when I do record videos, I just press record and start talking instead of pressing the button. I'm really heavy-handed, and that is also a factor in the pain in my hands, because I'm always like overstimulating my hands, because I can't just press lightly. I gotta squeeze everything. So, I'm talking to Dre, and I'm like, I work just as much as you, and just because I work from home, just because you say you have to come home and clean, I'm home, I have to work, stop working, and now clean. So I'm putting out the same effort as you. And so it was an interesting conversation. But back to the financial space that we're in, he no longer can stand behind, I get money, you should do everything else. Now he's like, okay, I'm not getting money, how can I pick up the slack in other areas? So that has kind of put us on an even playing ground. For me, it's beautiful, because he has stopped looking at me as, well, how come you're not doing this? And he's starting to look at himself like, why can't I help do with these things? Or why can't this be a responsibility of mine? And one of those things was cooking. Dre is an amazing cook. Bailey, my 18-year-old, is an amazing cook. Me, if I wanted to put the effort forth, I can be a good cook as well. But I don't want to. It's not something that I value. I've never valued food. I've never valued cooking. I've never valued eating. And so they're very difficult, not difficult, they're very hard on me, because I don't know, Bailey must think she thinks I can fly. Bailey thinks I could walk on water, because anything that I have a deficit in, she's like, well, fix it. And I'm just like, well, first, the desire to fix it has to be there. I can choose to overcome something, and this is something I journaled about this morning, where I was like, I think you can force a space of being in spirit. And what I mean by in spirit is spirit, soul. Our spirit is our present incarnation, so Lonee. Soul is our reincarnation, and I call my reincarnation Ednetta. Our spirit is what typically is living our lives and messing our lives up and has no impulse control. Those of you who went through psychology and they have the id, the ego, and the superego, your spirit is your id. Your id is out of control, doesn't use its brain, and just out here messing your life up. Your soul, your reincarnation, which travels from lifetime to lifetime to lifetime to soak up game. Now your soul is out here trying to soak up game in this lifetime, and it's dependent on our spirit playing its role, because the spirit is the vehicle. So what I am learning is, when we are inspired, that is very topical. We are doing things because we had a great idea, or, welcome everyone to the live. I am Lonee Appleton, and this is My Life is a Classroom. So I am just talking about my life, and whatever parts you happen to be a part of, it was for you. So when we're moving inspired, like, oh, I'm going to start working out, or, oh, I'm going to start eating healthy, or, oh, I'm going to stop whatever this behavior is that's ruining my life. I'm going to stop this behavior. I'm going to start this behavior to evolve my life. Whatever it is, that's typically very topical in spirit thinking. And that's why when we start something, our physical selves, our current incarnation, we're gung-ho, and we usually have the buy-in of our community, because we do a big announcement that says, hey, I'm going to start working out again, or hey, I'm going to do this, or hey, I'm going to do this. And then we have everybody else who's used to moving in spirit, and they're going to cheer you on, even though everybody knows, even you know, that you're probably going to quit. I started working out last week, and I haven't posted any of my videos, because I was like, when you make it to day 30, then you could post your videos. Why? Because I know your history. I can just look at your history of working out and you don't make it past 3 weeks of working out. So if you make it into your 4th week of working out, you have permission to post your videos. But what I have discovered potentially, this is what I was journaling about this morning. Is it possible to force yourself into in spirit? So can you go from inspiration, i.e. topical, I'm going to start working out because my booty is flat and I want my booty to plump back up. Therefore, my 2 methodologies of growing my ass historically has been in weight. My booty, I have one from genetics, from my mother, but it gets nicer as I gain weight. And then when I get too big, then it starts riding the back of my ass and I start looking like a giraffe. I don't want to look like a giraffe. I want to look the nice ass. But the rest of my body, the body that's necessary to have that nice booty weight-wise, I have to gain like 15, 20 more pounds. I'm down to 159 and I like how the rest of my body looks, except for my butt. And so it's like, okay, well, how do I get my butt back? I have to work out. On top of my heart, on top of I have a 4 and a 6-year-old, I need to keep my heart pumping long enough to at least see my kids graduate high school. So on top of the veneer or the vanity of looking good, I need my heart to keep pumping so that I can be available for my children. I need my body to still be able to move so I can move around. And, I already got this arthritic stuff going on in my body. I don't need to add on top of that. My muscles aren't strong enough to support my body. My joints are already struggling. I don't need my muscles to struggle too. And I don't know if they're different, but they got different names. So I'm going to say that they're both necessary in order to support this skeletal system of mine. And so I was thinking, hey, can I move in spirit purposefully? Because in the past I've been saying you can fake it till you make it, i.e. continue inspired, inspired. Okay, and then eventually that inspiration, because you have a topical desire, you don't tap into your soul energy until something from inside meets outside. When you are tapping into your spirit, current incarnation energy, something from the outside is trying to permeate inside, i.e. I don't like my butt, i.e. I don't like this, i.e. I don't like that, whatever it is in your life. So that is the outside world influencing you to do some internal work. And typically that is short-lived because our true motivators, our true lasting change comes from spirit, comes from our higher selves. So if we are making our changes within our lives based on the outside world, that's why that's short-lived. But those changes that we're making in our lives potentially are changes that can change our lives, so they're necessary. And so I'm doing things that are necessary, but I'm not doing them in a sustainable way, i.e. my spirit is not tapping into my soul. And we need to figure out how to do that intentionally. Thank you so much. We need to figure out how to do this intentionally. Intentionally, in the past, I said, fake it till you make it. So you just keep trying. One thing that I was doing, I started journaling last June 2022. I started journaling and I said, I'm not going to quit journaling ever again because I know the value in journaling. I'm literally documenting my life and I can always look back on this shit. I could sell my journals. Like, if y'all like how I talk, you're going to love how I write. Now I write how I talk. So if you read them for grammar, But my journals are a big part of who I am, and I recognize that now. But I went through a phase where I stopped doing my altar work, I stopped meditating, and I stopped journaling. And historically, I have allowed for that space because I've always said you need to honor your feelings. Forcing yourself to power through something that you don't want to do could potentially cause more damage than good. You know, if you don't feel like getting up and grinding today, maybe that's your body's way of telling you to have several seats. But we get up and grind and we get up and grind and we're like, well, I'm not getting any results from this grind. Well, maybe, hello, Virginia Beach. How are you? Thank you for stopping in and joining the conversation. Maybe that day of grinding wasn't necessary. You know what I'm saying? I talked about it once, but we talk about the stairs in our lives, right? You know, we're constantly trying to go up the stairs. And while we're going up the stairs, sometimes we enter into rooms, i.e. classrooms, and we start learning and we start gaining knowledge, right? But after we explore that level, we go back to the stairs and we keep climbing up. And so while we're doing these grind activities, yes, in the physical world, to our spirit selves and to our peers, you know, you have to take your day. Exactly. You have to honor yourself. You have to honor yourself and slow down, because if you don't have the motivation, the desire, all the things you typically have, if you don't have those things, that is our internal selves, our soul communicating to ourselves, hey, pay attention to this. And even though we're on our stairs and we're like, no, if I take a day off, no days off, you know, grind, I grind till I die or whatever y'all be saying. I don't say that stuff, but you know, all those different sayings, they have us believe that we must work ourselves to death. Even if we're doing what we love, we must not have balance in our lives. We must grind till we die. Thank you. But we can grind every day, but every day we grind isn't necessarily elevating us, if that makes sense. So the daily grind, it's necessary. It's necessary for me to get up and film these lives, whether there's 0 in the room or there's 1,000 in the room. It's necessary. But if Spirit sits me down, Spirit literally was like, boo, you're on a 10-day suspension. You ain't going to be able to record no lives for 10 days. You know, and I was like, but I just started trying to build this audience. Like, I did 3 lives and then got suspended. And I'm just like, well, damn, the little 2 people that I did accumulate, they going to be like, well, where'd Sis go? Sis got suspended, you know. But Spirit is interchangeable. Those of you who've been rocking with me, you understand what I'm talking about. But those of you who don't know, yes, our spirit is our current incarnation, but spirit is God, energy, angels, guides, ancestors. However you connect to your higher self, that is spirit. So when I say spirit, depending on what comes after what I say, I'm either talking about our present incarnation, i.e. Lonee, or I'm talking about connection. So I try to do hand gestures to make it very apparent, you know, when spirit is communicating with us, it's important for us to listen. And so it's okay to sit down. All right, I'm going to read this letter. I have a couple of topics. I think damn, it's already 12:30. I rambled for 30 minutes before we even got into any of the talking points. I made a great connection with Angel yesterday. She is in her, I call it an accountability plan. Instead of punishment, it is her accountability plan. I think punishment has a negative connotation. And even though we have changed the negative aspect of her punishments, calling them a punishment or a consequence is still putting a negative spin on it. So today when I was journaling, I wrote her accountability plan. So this is how she's going to hold herself accountable in order to continue the pleasures that she enjoys in life. So 6-month progress, I want to talk about that. Not cooking, I'm lazy. I did a whole Facebook post about that. 11-year-old mentality. The 27-year-old that tried to talk to my 18-year-old. closure, silence, and communication. So we have a lot of talking points. But before I get into this rant that I went, it wasn't even a rant. It was just me being honest. In the past, I would be online ranting and complaining. But I received this as just speaking my truth and getting it off. And getting it off in a way, it honestly turned into a journal entry that was just public. Those of you who follow me on Facebook, my Facebook isn't like this. My Facebook is just my private Facebook, but I now make some posts public. So those of you who know me from Facebook, you know, all of this that you see here on TikTok started on Facebook, you know, where I would write just long ass posts. This is a Facebook post, y'all. These are what my Facebook posts look like, you know. So I would write these long ass posts, and now I just make long ass videos. So what you see here has been here. And I am a writer. You know, I have 2 books. I have the Domino series, and I have What's the Best That Can Happen. So I am a writer, and that is my gift of the spirit. And as a youth, I would pigeonhole myself, and I'm a writer. I'm a writer. I'm a writer. And a lot of people do that. I'm this, I'm this, I'm this. Because it's something that's coming from inside, manifesting out. Thank you. It's something that's coming from inside, from our soul, and it's manifesting out to our present incarnation, our spirit. And so the thing that came easily to me was, I'm a writer, I'm a writer, I'm a writer. And so I'm going through life, and I'm going through my 20s, and my boyfriend at the time is like, you need to go to college because you need to get a degree. And I was like, why do I need to go to college? I'm going to be a writer. Why do I need to go to school? I'm going to be a writer. Why do I need to take this job seriously? I'm going to be a writer. Well, writing is a piece of it. Art is a piece of it. Singing is a piece of it. Whatever it is a piece of it. And if we are not achieving whatever it is that we are trying to achieve, because I also believe in divine alignment. What is taking place right now could not have happened at any other time in history than the time is happening right now for us. So I understand divine alignment. But also on your road and things aren't opening up, you know, I wrote this book and I just knew I was going to be famous. I wrote this book in 2008. I think that's what it said on the copyright page when I looked it up on buybooksontheweb.com. If you want a copy, yes, buybooksontheweb.com. 2008. I wrote this book in 2008, and I just knew this was it, because God gave me this book in 2 weeks. My cousin told me a story about this girl who was going around passing HIV around, and I was like, yo, that's an amazing story to tell. So I told the story, and for some strange reason, I put my ass on the cover. So when I was promoting this book, I'd be like, it's not biographical. It's not biographical. I just didn't want to pay a model, so I put myself on the cover. But when I wrote this book, it poured out of me in 2 weeks. Just poured out of me. And I just knew this was it. And this is called the Domino series, because there's supposed to be 5 books. This is the only book that I wrote, and I wrote it in 2008 in 2 weeks. So we can't get too caught up in our physical plans. Yeah, I'm going to write 5 books and blah, 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 blah. And then on the spirits, or on the spirit side, the soul side, this is what poured out. You had a plan, but what is it? Islam. My cousin's Muslim. My cousin is Muslim. And she says there's a phrase that says, man, and I'm going to butcher it, but y'all going to get the gist. Man plan, God plans, but God is the best of planners. So, man plans a series of 5 books. God planned this book right here. And God is the best of planners. So while I'm over here beating myself up because I've only done 1 book out of 5, God's like, I only asked you to do 1 book. You're the one that threw the other 4 on there. So is it truly a failure? Or is it you not listening? Is it you having your own agenda? So now you're sitting here beating yourself up because of your own agenda. I didn't tell you nothing about that. I mean, I like the title, The Domino Series, but you're the one that chose that. I just told you to tell this story. So we set ourselves up for our own disappointments, you know. But to that, and to the original point, and if I'm ever talking, look, guys, those of you who aren't familiar, just type it in the comments and I'll come back to it. But and our chats are more enjoyable when you guys talk to each other in the comments. But you rock this thing how you choose to rock it. Anyway, what's his name? I wrote the book. Oh, yeah. Okay, so the point that I was making earlier, is it possible to push yourself into in spirit? So I was in spirit when I wrote this book. Any other book after this would be no. I was inspired. This is new, so I'm trying to get it together because it's in spirit and inspired. Inspired is topical. In spirit means you tapped into spirit. So you're moving in spirit, which is you have tapped into your soul. Inspired is you had a great idea and it's all coming from here. But we already know this thing gets us in a lot of freaking trouble, especially if you're moving through life with your reactive brain and you're not using your logical brain. And remember, our logical brain doesn't develop until our early mid-20s, so we go through a lot of life being very reactionary. And so at some point we have to shift into logical brain, which is what I'm doing. It took me 41 years to shift into logical brain. And that's why I'm making this content, so that we all can intentionally shift into logical brain. So how can I move into spirit? I wrote this in spirit, which means this was given to me, poured out. It's going to do what it do. But I plan on doing 4 other books in the series. So now this is inspired. This is Lonee said that she's going to do something. So how does Lonee make this happen? Is it possible that I just sit down at the computer and force it to happen? Now that completely contradicts the go with the flow and to listen. What do you guys think? Can you sit down and force something to happen? And you force it for so long, like when I was journaling and I stopped journaling, I kept telling myself, sis, you need to start journaling again. You need to journal. You need to document this process. What I'm going through in my life right now needs to be documented, because I'm not going through this to go through it. I'm going through this because of my transparency, of my willingness to share, of my willingness to show vulnerability. Everybody's not willing to show the chinks in their armor, to show themselves when they're down. I am. And so because of that, I need to document it, because one thing I know about my life, I have been down, but I've always gotten back up. And when I get back up, I get back up better. Because while I'm down, I'm doing the work. Even in the past, when I was groveling and saying, why me, God? Why me? You must hate me. I was still somehow, unbeknownst to me, doing the work. And so I wonder, and I'm going to try this theory with working out, because I know that I have hyped myself up in my head. I am Beyonce, which means I saw Beyonce when she was bills, the writing on the wall. I saw her and I felt her energy. Now, I'm not talking about how people probably will experience her today. I would love to experience her energy today. Because when I experienced her back in 99, 2000, whenever that was, when I experienced her energy then, it was non-existent. She was just a little girl from Houston trying to get noticed from her face. Hey, we're Destiny's Child. Pay us attention. And this is nothing except to speak towards the energy that she has tapped into. Those of you who have been a Beyonce fan since Bills, or whatever their first, out the gate was. Those of you who have been a fan of her, you have watched her energy shift. I have watched her energy shift. And the cool thing is, I stood right next to her. I stood right next to all four of them. And they gave off no energy. The only reason I knew who they were, because they had on their Tina Knowles outfits. And Tina was standing right next to them. And I recognized their faces from their videos. That's how I knew it was Destiny's Child. Otherwise, there was no fanfare, there was no star energy, there was no nothing. But somehow Beyonce tapped into all of that on a massive level. How? I'm going to figure that shit out. I'm going to figure out how to tap into that dynamic energy that takes you from, oh, no, didn't notice them. Takes you from that to Beyonce. I've watched it. I experienced it, so I know it's possible. The kicker is, we see these people on TV and we see these people, like I watched the Kanye West documentary and I was just like, I see it, but people are only going to tell you what they want to tell you. But the unique thing about Beyonce, especially where Beyonce has taken her life, and I'm not talking about all the other stuff because that's a whole nother conversation. We're talking about energy. And I'm not going to go there. We're going to talk about energy and belief in self and taking yourself from just a regular person who believes, oh, there's nothing special about me, to shifting something inside your brain where you realize we are all uniquely special and we all can tap into that exact same energy. The thing is, society elevates those people who have a talent. And so that then leads us to believe that we don't have the access to that exact same energy. But in our daily lives, we have access to that exact same energy if we tap in. And we know we can tap in because I'm telling you, but I know we can tap in because I stood next to Beyonce and nobody cared. Literally walking past her like, is there something else to see here? I saw it. Now that wouldn't happen today. So something happened. And I'm going to figure that shit out. Oh yeah, so forcing yourself, continuing to do something that you may not want to do. And I wonder if eventually it lines up. I don't know. It's a working theory. My family says I don't want to be a housewife because I don't cook or clean, but I literally hand washed 6 loads of laundry today. Make it make sense. Yes, our washing machine is broken. Life is lifing and landlord is dragging his feet. We have a washing machine. We have our own washing machine, but it's too big to fit through the doorway. So we can't bring it into the house. So we are at the mercy of our landlord to replace the machine. But our landlord is like, well, my uncle thinks he could fit it through the hole. Well, how is your uncle going to make the wall grow 3 inches to fit it through the hole? And you can't disassemble the washing machine. We tried, but there's wiring and stuff inside the door, so you can't take the door off. And you're going to take the back off. You're not going to destroy my washing machine to avoid replacing your washing machine. Now, if you want to buy some attachments, that's what I told you. I was like, can't we just buy some extra long cords and some extra long, piping or whatever that stuff, tubing, so that the water can flow through? Can we do that? So I could wash clothes. But anyway, I bought me a little mini washboard. I'll post the videos eventually, but and so I'm in there literally hand washing laundry so that we have clean clothes for the week, or the kids at least have clean clothes for the week. We have plenty of clothes. We gonna be all right. But the kids need their uniforms and their jeans and their underwear and their socks, and so to speak. So I'm in there hand washing clothes. But my family is calling me lazy because I don't want to cook and I don't want to clean. But it's not that I don't want to clean, and I'll get into it into the letter. But the fact that you're telling me that I don't want to be a housewife, which I don't. Like, when did I sign up for a housewife? My husband prides himself in the fact that he can carry all the bills. My husband prides himself in the fact that the money that I bring in is my money. He prides himself in that. So I didn't ask to be a housewife. He prides himself in the fact that I can stay home and do whatever the hell I feel like doing. I can come and sit and talk in front of this camera, you know, even though our lives are financially falling apart. I'm allowed to do that not because I'm being, what's the word, irresponsible, not because I don't give a care, because I do. I'm allowed to do this because at some point in my husband's brain, he flipped the switch and he saw the vision. My husband's an entrepreneur, so that's probably why it's easier for him to see it. And I had to say what I'm saying multiple different ways for him to get it. And I finally said, babe, you built a business. You're a barber. And there were times you were giving away free haircuts. There were times you were cutting hair in your bathroom. There were times that you only had your kids to cut because you didn't have a clientele. And now you have a clientele to where your wife can sit at home and record lives while you go to work. That took you time to build that clientele. It's going to take me time to build this platform, you know? But I know what this platform is, and I know what this platform gives. And I know that this platform is a piece in evolving a lot of people's lives. And I know there's value in that. So my husband has finally tapped into the space of understanding she's building a brand, but he's still caught in the inertia of today. And the inertia of today is these bills are due today, so I'm really excited about your future earning potential. But today, who's helping me today? And that's what he said to me this morning. He was like, I understand, but who's helping me today? I was like, you got a point. But I'm helping you in other ways. Bailey's helping. We're all helping. We're all doing our part. And I'm doing my part to build our future. And one of the things that one of the young ladies that I talk on here about, or talk to here, she said, we can't be so short-sighted with our present circumstances that we abandon our future. And that's my translation of what she said. But what she pretty much said was, those of you who are pursuing a vision, those of you who are pursuing a dream, and it's coming from the inside out, and you know if it's coming from the inside out or it's pride and it's coming from the outside in, you don't need that, Kaden. No. Did you want to come in here?
No.
So then just come in. Don't ask if you could come in. Don't just try to squeeze in, and you can sit right there on that. And be quiet, please.
Okay.
Those of you who aren't familiar, I have a 4-year-old, Kaden, who stays home with me. And he's going to interrupt our lives from time to time. But pretty much what she's saying is, I lost my train of thought. When you're pursuing a dream, when you're pursuing a vision, and it's coming from the inside out, circumstances are going to look however circumstances look. And if you're looking at those circumstances and you're determining whether you're going to continue to follow vision or you're going to continue to follow dream, and you abandon it. I've done it so many times, but the really cool thing about this time is I'm supported. In the past, when I was writing this book, I had a full-time job. I was a full-time single mom, and I was a full-time student. You know, I didn't have the support to pursue whatever was necessary to pursue this book. You know, when I wrote this book, same thing. I didn't have the support to do whatever was necessary. Another series, 2-part series, only got 1. Yeah. But the cool thing about this one, this is my spiritual evolution. So this is how I had my breakthrough, how I got rid of the negative thoughts that plagued me, how I learned how to see myself for myself in at its infancy, because there's levels to this shit, right? You know, so the stuff that I'm talking today, the revelations I'm having today, that's just me climbing up the stairs, going into the different classrooms and, you know, enjoying the different levels while I'm there and soaking up game and realizing, yo, the same stuff I was talking about back there is happening up here too, just on a different awakening level. So this was the infancy of my awakening, where I went from self-hate and self-loathing to realizing who I was and loving myself in all of my flaws, accepting myself. So that's what this book is. And I realized in this book that we're duality. So duality means that we are the physical experience and the spiritual experience. And I know that the work that needs to be done in order to do the physical work, stop it. Move your feet. You're moving my camera, so move your feet. Thank you. In order for us to do the physical work, we must do the spiritual work first. And so here's how I did and this is available on Amazon, seller Lonee Taylor, or it's available through my website, LoneeTaylorArt.com. This is available through buybooksontheweb.com, and just search by the title, Domino, and this will come up. This one is racy, so if you ain't getting none, this gonna be the one. And if you want to get some, read this first, and it's gonna be the wildest session after you read it. And if you need to do some healing, boom, there you go.
Give me one.
Heal yourself, then feel yourself. Boom, they're both valuable.
They give me one.
The what?
So
I don't know, but let mommy talk.
they give me data.
Okay, so this time when I'm pursuing the dream, and it's all the things. I'm writing books, I'm doing videos, I'm doing all the things. Got the merch, I got the t-shirts, I got the, the sister support tumblers. I have all the stuff, that I've had in the past that I was unsuccessful because I didn't have the support. But this time around I have the support. And support isn't just financial. Support is a community. I have you guys. If there was no one to watch a video, I wouldn't be making a video. I told Meta at the beginning of this video, I had to put a sticker over the number up there because it was discouraging. I couldn't keep talking because I kept looking at that number drop down to 0. And I was like, who the hell am I talking to? And so the support isn't just financial. The support isn't financial right now. The support is just my husband giving me the peace to continue to pursue. It's easy to continue to pursue when you're by yourself and you don't have to hear nobody else's mouth. And you're sitting there trying to impress upon them like, babe, this is coming from inside. I am being told to do this. Well, I don't care what you're being told. There's a book that I read. Is it in here? Yep. Watch out, Bubba. Step to the side real quick. Just sit to the side. To the side. Yep. Sit. Boom. This book, she's a lady I met on TikTok. She's not a TikTok author, but she's a lady that I met on TikTok. She sent me her book. She was like, hey, can I send you a copy of my book? And I wasn't sure why she messaged. She contacted me and she's like, hey, can I send you a copy of my book? And I was like, sure. I'll read it. I don't read. It's difficult for me to finish a book. But sure. So she sent me this book. When I tell you this book was my life, she was going through her spiritual evolution and her family was imploding. So if you are doing the work, like you done got a Lonee Appleton hair up your ass and you're like, I'm doing the work, and you're evolving your life and everybody around you is looking at you like, what the fuck is going on? Pick this book up. At the very least, this book will let you know that you're not alone. This book, I read the first 50 pages and I am literally just reading these pages like I'm reading my life. I'm like, well, damn, did your husband leave you? What happened? Oh, your kids don't like you now? Oh, shoot, what happened next? I am reading this. Now, the difference between Felicia and myself, is Felicia had no idea what was happening to her. She just started going through this spiritual evolution. And she was like, I don't know what the fuck is happening. So when everybody's like, why did you just quit your job? She was like, I don't know. I just was told to do it. And then her husband's like, well, these bills gonna keep billing, so you better figure something out. And I'm sure they called her lazy because she refused to go back to work. She was like, I'll go back to work to satisfy what you guys want, but that's not what Spirit is telling me to do. Spirit is telling me to continue to follow my bliss. And following your bliss is not irresponsible. What's irresponsible is thinking. Thinking is irresponsible. And don't get me wrong when I say that I love to think. I love to theorize. But what's irresponsible is thinking is spirit. External, in. Outward, in. We should be living our lives inward, out. Inward, out. So you're able to be inspired and to move in spirit. Felicia's actually the person who taught me what in spirit was. Because I said something, I was like, something. I was inspired. She was like, no, you were in spirit. And I was like, damn, I did. I was walking in spirit. I trusted divine. I trusted God. I trusted whatever you call it. I trusted it. She trusted it. This is a good book. This is more of a journal. This isn't it's not written like too many other books that I've read. And I only say that because she was like, well, if you go to Amazon and you read the reviews, don't pay attention to those. I was like, I don't pay attention to reviews anyway, but I know people do. But then when I started reading the book, I was just like, I understand what you're saying, but I also understand this is biographical. I'm just documenting a moment in my life. And she documented a moment of evolution in her life. And we can't overlook anyone who is willing to publicly evolve in front of us. We cannot overlook anyone who is being so vulnerable and transparent and letting us observe their metamorphosis. Isn't that what butterflies go through? We go through metamorphosis. We do too as people. Every 7 years, cellularly, we're different beings. We're new beings. That's scientific. And we evolve and change. So when someone's willing to do that, so that we can observe it, it's not for us to sit in judgment of it. It's for us to learn from it. It's for us to say, okay, this is what they went through. I read this and I was like, damn, sis, you are telling me what my future holds. And I can use your knowledge. And I can prevent your pitfalls happening in my life. So I really enjoyed this book. I read this on the flight to Jamaica. Most books I'll read however much I read, and I receive that as whatever I needed was in the first 20 pages. Whatever I needed was in the first 6 pages. Whatever I needed was in the first 50 pages. But I was like, I must finish this book because I must know what happens. And so I don't cook because I suck at it. I don't care enough to take the time to be good at it. There is some serious trauma there that I don't care enough to unpack. F cooking. So I do know I was in home ec and I used to love cooking. Please stop because that's distracting. If you want to hum, you need to go to your room. Do you understand?
I did go a bed.
Okay, but mommy's talking, and it's rude to hum while I'm talking, so please respect me. Stop flipping the book. You're being distracting. If you want to be disruptive, I'm not telling you you can't. I'm telling you need to go out there so mommy can work. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Okay, yes. And so I really enjoyed home ec as a teenager, but one day there was a bunch of leftovers in the refrigerator, so I just threw them all in a pot and made a goulash or whatever. And everybody's eating it like, oh, this is good, what is it? And I was like, I'm not going to tell you guys what's in it because you'll stop eating it. And they were like, no, what's in it? What's in it? And I was just like, it's catfish chicken noodle soup. And they were like, and they all started spitting it out. And it was the most nastiest things I've ever ate because they found out what the ingredients were. You can eat catfish independently. You can eat chicken and noodles independently. You can sip some broth independently. But when I combine them all together, all of a sudden it's the most nastiest thing you've ever experienced. Let's think about the limitations we put on ourselves. You were enjoying something until you found out it doesn't align with what you're used to. So now it's the worst experience. That's something that needs to be addressed within ourselves. Anyway, I think that was the moment that I said I'm not cooking anymore because I stopped cooking after that. So now today, when I have to cook, I'm like, well, I no longer cook from frozen bags because I know that that's death in a bag. You know, I'd rather not eat and skip a meal. My kids eat all day long, so if they don't eat a quote-unquote technical dinner, it's not that they're starving. But Bailey or Dre cooks. And I'm a terrible cook. Even on the nights that I'm cooking, people will see that I'm cooking and already decide they're not going to eat dinner. So I'm literally wasting food because no one's going to eat it. No, you're going to sit down.
They send me some dolphin.
Sit down.
And then you will send me some dolphin.
Get you some what? Some goldfish?
Yeah.
I'll get you some goldfish later, okay?
But
Can I work? And I will get you some goldfish. So relax and don't kick my camera. So yeah, that's the history behind the cooking. I'm a terrible cook. And the times that I do cook, people don't eat. So I was like, I'm not wasting my time or wasting money or wasting groceries anymore. Either y'all cook or ain't nobody cooking. There's leftovers somewhere. I stopped cleaning because I was the only one doing it constantly. Every Saturday, clean each room and hit reset. But as I'm hitting reset, every single family member is going behind me, dirtying everything I just spent 5 hours cleaning. My God, the rage. So instead of my anal-ass standards, I dropped down to their standards of living. And as long as I remain in my own little pig pen, I'm fine. It's when I venture off into other family members' pig pens that it becomes overwhelming. Damn, I spelled pig pen 2 different ways. Which means I'm okay in my own filth. It's when I go and I look at everybody else's filth that it drives me crazy. Because I'm okay in my own contained environment. I'm okay with the chaos that I create in my own life. It's when I go outside of my own chaos and now I have to experience other people's chaos that I am now overwhelmed. So it's not that please stop. It's not that I'm not okay in chaos. I'm okay in my controlled chaos, i.e. my own pig pen. I can't function in other people's chaos. So I just stay in my own. But then I scurry back into my pig pen and find my peace in the chaos. See, I am not a maid doesn't mean I won't clean. I love to clean. It's one of my pride points. My ability to impress myself with anything I do, and cleaning is one of those things. It is. I have always been one of those people who I see a stack of paper over here and the ability to move that stack of paper over here because I powered through and bossed up. That is the greatest feeling to me. Achieving a higher goal today than I did yesterday, not measuring my yesterday against today, but just being my best self today. Stop. Is a pride point for me. So I very much enjoy cleaning. I don't enjoy cleaning and people are going right behind me messing up. I am not a maid means I am not hired help that just comes in and cleans up after you. I am the mother, wife, and woman of this house. And before you get caught up in wife being listed second, notice that I identified as a woman last. I see myself last. Digest that. I don't mind cleaning, but after I'm done, can you all do your part to maintain? I asked my family to rinse their dishes tonight to help Angel with washing the dishes, and you would have thought I asked them for their firstborns. All of my family looked at me like, rinse my dishes? Like, you complain about Angel's inability to wash the dishes to your satisfaction, though she is tasked with washing the dishes. So how can we help her be successful? How can we stop her from being overwhelmed? Can we rinse our dishes? And they acted like I just, okay. The idea of constantly cleaning up after themselves, unless it serves them, is why my home looks the way that it does. It has been bothering me lately too, and to be honest, it is just too far gone for me to even fathom hitting reset. Especially with these weak-ass swollen hands. Yeah, these hands ain't shit, y'all. I'm not scrubbing anything when I can barely open a water bottle. If I ever open a water bottle on video, you'll see me open it with my teeth because my hands, I can't bend some of my fingers all the way. Like this one won't go all the way down. That one will. But that's as far as that'll go. My thumbs don't bend all the way down anymore. And now my ring finger is being attacked. So, I'm working on it. But anyway, these hands ain't opening nothing. So I just retreat back to my little pig pen and allow my family to call me lazy after spending 4+ hours hand scrubbing their shitty underwear. They had the nerve to sit there and call me lazy and tell me I don't want to be a housewife. I don't want to take care of my family when I just spent 4 hours hand washing their laundry. Just because my contribution to the family today doesn't look like, okay, so you have one more infraction, which means you have one more thing to do, and you're going to leave. Do you understand? Today, I don't have the patience for this. So you're either going to sit quietly or you're going to go. Those are your options. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Mommy's not playing today. So please stop and sit quietly so you can stay.
Okay.
Thank you. You know, just because what I do to contribute to the home isn't status quo things, i.e. cooking and cleaning, you know, they discount what I do. Because I have chosen to discontinue things that do not bring me joy, and by doing this, several things have fallen off of my plate and onto whoever's plate it falls onto. I honestly don't care. I am no longer bound by because you're mom and because you're my wife. Well, you're my husband and you're my child, and we're all equally responsible for making this family unit move. We can really stop. Don't touch my light. We can really effectively work together if we become a collective. As long as we maintain this family dynamic, you're the mom, you're supposed to do this. You're the dad, you're supposed to do this. And if there's not a mom and dad, you're everything. You're supposed to do this. Children, you're supposed to do this. You're supposed to do this. As long as we maintain that hierarchy, one, our children will never gain responsibility until later in life. And I'm not talking about the situations where mom works all the time and so the oldest sibling has to become mom and those types of things. That's an energy thing. Because yes, Bailey cooks now, but Bailey enjoys cooking. She enjoys dicing up the vegetables and sprinkling all the sprinkles and all that stuff. She gets off on it. So do something you enjoy. Help the family out. Not, I'm forcing her to do anything. We have identified the person in the family who enjoys cooking. You should do it. And if you need me to support you, i.e., I will prep all the vegetables, but spicing stuff up, I don't know how to spice. The time or how to cook something, I don't know those things. I can look it up on the internet, or you can do what you know innately. Move in your strengths. Thank you. You know, I'm out here being vulnerable, expressing myself as a female who does not thrive in areas that females pride themselves in thriving in. So this is a very vulnerable moment to me. So I appreciate the hearts. Thank you. Let's see. Because I have chosen to do, I am no longer bound by. Why must I struggle through things I hate when you two, i.e. Dre and Bailey, both enjoy those things? Where am I weak? Oh, where I am weak, you all are strong. That's partnership. This is a partnership. It's not only a partnership between me and my spouse. It's a partnership between me and my children. In the past, I would have just yelled at him and kicked him out. But that's not partnership. Partnership is working together. This is teaching him how to make his own choices. I'm not forcing him into a space until he forces me to force him into a space. So as long as he is choosing to remain silent and silently do an activity, then he can stay. He's making his choice. I am not forcing anything on him. And allowing him to make his choice, I am empowering him and teaching him how to self-correct, which is something that we're dealing with Angel. Angel does not know how to self-correct. And everybody's frustrated with Angel, but I was like, Angel has never had to self-correct because we've always corrected for her. Michael, our 6-year-old, we've always corrected for him. Caden, we've always corrected for him. But now when we give them choices, now they can choose. And Dre's like, that's not how kids are supposed to be raised. They're not supposed to have choices. But if they have choices, then they could learn how to choose for themselves. They can choose the wrong choice, and then they'll have the consequences of those choices. For every action, there's an equal or something reaction or something like that. So they can choose whatever they choose. But in that choice, they're going to get whatever consequences come with that. Isn't that real life? What don't you want your children to be in a simulated real life environment as soon as possible under your guidance so that you can help them develop and understand, versus they're restricted or told what to do until they get from in your house, and now they got to start making decisions for themselves and they have no idea how to start making. How do I make a choice? I don't know. My kid at 4 years old is being taught, this is how I'm going to make a choice. And I'm going to choose to play with this stamp and be quiet instead of be disruptive. Because in order to get what I want, i.e. stay in here in this closet with my mama, I got to get some get right. So he is learning. Bailey argued and Dre stared and I stood my ground. Bailey told me, Mom, if all you got to do is take your time. She's telling me all the things I need to do in order to be successful with cooking. And I was like, it's not that I'm not capable of being successful with cooking. It's that I have zero desire to do so. And you're actually tapping into a trauma point that I'm not interested in addressing right now. I don't care why I don't like to cook. I just don't want to cook. It's something I don't enjoy, but you do. So you should do it. And Dre just was looking at me. Just looking at me. He don't ever say nothing. He just be looking at me. Nigga, speak. I want to know what you think. How much food have we thrown away simply because this family sees me cooking and already decides they're not eating? And even though this is their very logical reality, they feel more comfort in the lie that I'm lazy and I just want to get out of some of my responsibilities. You are not making your best choice right now. Correct it. Make a better choice. And cut it out before you spill my water.
What did I do?
You're over there making noise. Any type of noise you make, you're being disruptive. Whether it's your mouth or you're playing with something. So stop making noises, okay? If you want to make noise, by all means, go to your room.
I don't want to play with Daddy.
Okay, then chill out. So their logical reality. They hate my cooking. Like, why would you want me to cook?
Dad don't like you, Daddy.
Yeah. You're going to tell me why you don't like my cooking?
Yeah, he don't like you, Daddy.
Why not?
He likes it.
Okay.
He like you, Daddy. You better, Daddy, and make us eat the burger.
Okay. I won't make you eat my food anymore. Shut the door. Okay, half right. Even though this is their logical reality, they feel more comfortable in the lie that I'm lazy and I just want to get out of some of my responsibilities. Okay, they're half right, because remember two things. One, I just hand washed 6 loads of laundry. And 2, I am offloading some of my responsibilities, but I am not lazy. I am in the midst of building a brand. And that takes a different type of discipline. It takes a selfishness that has a successful working mom branded lazy and selfish. Hold on, let me read that again. It takes a selfishness that has now branded me a working mom, lazy and selfish. It made sense last night. In order to achieve success in the arena that I am take trying out of it, in the arena that I am pursuing, it's going to take a lot of energy focus in that direction. And I can't stop focusing my energy in that direction so that I can go and cook a meal. Especially when the people sitting around waiting for the meal are capable of cooking. This is partnership. Where I'm preparing this for, it requires me to be less everything to and for everyone else, but they become less dependent of me. So they need to become independent of me. My family, where I'm headed, I know that my family needs to become less dependent of me because I'm not going to be around, which means I'm going to be working. I'm going to be gone. Mom will not be, go find mom, she's in the room. Go find mom, she's in the backyard. Go find mom, she's in the garage. Go find mom. No, mom's gone. So y'all need to figure out how to function. This is the classroom, right? That's why I say you want to prepare your children while you have them. You want to give them freedom of choice while you have them so they can learn how to be good decision makers. They can make their choices and you can walk them through those choices. Now when they go through life, they have your logical brain, because remember, our kids don't have logical brain, so they're making their choices off of reaction. They're making their choices off of society. They're making their choices off of their friend groups. But if we are allowing our kids to make choices within our classroom, within our homes, which is our classroom, if we're allowing our children to make their choices within our home, and we're guiding them through those choices because we let our children know that we're a safe space. Hold on. Kaden, please stop. Because we let our children know that we are a safe space and now they can freely speak to us, then now they can make their choices informed using our logical brain. So it's important for us to tap into our logical brain in order to effectively raise our children, because our children do not have logical brains. We cannot raise our children from reactionary brain. I talk about all of this in my book, What's the Best That Can Happen? We can available at LoneeTaylorArt.com or on Amazon. We cannot raise our children from our reactionary brain, because if we raise our children from our reactionary brain, our kids already know how to be reactionary. Our kids do not have the capability of being logical because their frontal lobe does not develop until their 20s. So it is our job to transfer our knowledge. Bailey is one of the most aware 18-year-olds I've met in my life. But that's also, it's something about our DNA. We're different. But I have fed into her so much that she's capable of using logic, even though she does not have access to her logical brain. She's capable of using logic because I have fed logic into her. So she's able to see, the reactionary perspective, but she's also just able to see the logical perspective, not necessarily from her point of view, but because I have taught her how to move logically through life. So she can make logical decisions, even though she's still stuck in this space. She was like, what are men good for? They're only good for sex. And I was just like, you just make sure you don't get married or have any children until your frontal lobe develops. Because for you to think that's all a man is good for, you are going to find the best guy who fucks you good, and you're going to either have his baby or you're going to be married. And then when your frontal lobe kicks in and you realize that men bring a lot more, or men definitely should bring a lot more to the table than being able to slang the D, but you're trapped into this marriage, or you're trapped with this baby with this man who is a man child. So she's definitely still an 18-year-old who doesn't know how to think for herself, but we can have that conversation and I can tell her what to avoid. Do you understand why we are not one of our children's little friends? We are our children's friends, because we have to become their friends in order for them to disclose the information necessary to us in order for us to guide them forward. If they don't feel like we're a safe space, they're never going to have those conversations with us, and we can never guide them. We can never transfer our logical brain to them. And so they will continue to go through life with their reactionary brain, bumping their head and fumbling. This is her transferring her knowledge to whoever's willing to read it. I don't have to fumble. I don't have to lose my marriage. I don't have to do any of those things. Why? Because she wrote a book. Because she went through it and she documented her process. We must abandon the ideology that we must suffer in order to figure it out. Experience is the best teacher, but experience doesn't have to be negative. Right now, you're sitting here and you're listening to this live for whatever duration that you're listening. You're sitting here and you're watching one of my videos, or you're even watching, the mollywop in Montgomery, whatever you're watching. If you are not feeding your soul, if you are not growing and evolving yourself, you can be entertained all you want to. But if you're not feeding yourself, evolving yourself, and growing yourself, and collecting tools to propel yourself forward and to continue walking up those stairs, you are cheating yourself. You are delaying yourself, and you are either staying stuck on those stairs, and depending on what the message was, it might have been what you needed next to take the next step up. But because you took it for granted and you only experienced it from the physical perspective, but you did not feed yourself, you're either stuck on the stair, you may have took a few steps back because the tool you needed you did not pick up, and so now you gotta, live and repeat whatever it is. We're living in a perpetual Groundhog's Day. The only difference in our days is our perspective and how we pursue it. That is what changes yesterday from today. That was a good one. That was tip jar worthy. Lonee Appleton. All right, I have begun the process of weaning my family off of me, and they are aware and calling me out for ditching out on my jobs. And of course, my brand building job doesn't matter because it's not bringing in money today. Oh, my family, if I could only see the vision. Oh, if you could only see the vision I have. You not only see how hard I work so much my eyes are strained and my hands are swollen. If you saw my vision, you'd see that I'm not lazy. I'm just removing things shamelessly. I'm just removing things shamelessly from my plate of responsibility and just dropping it for whoever wants to pick it up. I've attempted removing kicking. It's been an argument, cooking. It's been an argument, and I have been kicking and screaming. That's where that word came from. I have been trying to impress upon my family that I should not be the primary cook in this family for the 6 years that I've been with Dre, and for the 18 years that Bailey has been my child. From the first time she spit my food out when she was a toddler, I was like, Mama can't cook. But I've always felt shame because I'm a woman. And I'm supposed to know how to cook. That's such a pride point in a woman's life. We feel we got something up on the next woman just because we could cook. Just because we could burn. I was like, damn, I got my auntie's elbows that cooks with fat back. And Bailey was like, and you can't even cook. I was like, I know where these elbows come from. That's why I got to get in the gym. I'm trying to get rid of my auntie elbows. Look, I got auntie elbows. You think I could cook, don't you? I can't, but I sure got the elbows. So I felt shame in the past. I felt like I was failing my family. I don't really think I felt like I was failing as a woman because I've never identified myself as a woman based on societal standards of what a woman is. Maybe in my 20s, but not of recent. But I felt shame because Bailey will always come to me because your mom. It's your job. And Dre would come to me be like, because you sit at home all day? And I'm like, well, I do, but I work a lot. I'm not making money, but I work a lot. I have never just sat at home and watched TV. I have never sat at home and not transfer knowledge to my children and raise my children to the best ability that I knew how to raise my children. Now I know how to raise my children in a better space, in a more progressive space where I'm not only raising their spirit, but I'm also raising their soul. So I know that. But I've never not just sat at home and popped bonbons like Peggy Bundy. Never. But on the days I feel like honoring myself, I will sit my ass down, give me some fruit, sprinkle some tahini on it, and sit up and watch me a K-drama. I sure as hell will. And pop gummies all day so that I can maintain my high. I sure will. But that's not my life. My life is me sitting here, yapping my mouth and sharing knowledge with people, building this brand for 3 hours a day. I'm not lazy, and I'm no longer going to feel shame for aligning myself with tasks that feed my spirit, tasks that feed my soul, and tasks that I enjoy, and offloading the tasks that I do not enjoy. I will partner with you, i.e., I will cook one or two, not 2 or 3. I will cook 1 or 2 nights a week. Assign me my nights. And I will burn for you. Those nights are the nights that I know that I got to take 3 hours to cook y'all a damn good meal. When I take 3 hours, I'm an amazing cook. But I'm a Rachel Ray. I'm a 30 minutes or less. And so that's what I'm going to raise. I'm going to call a family meeting when Dre gets home. Hopefully Bailey will be here. If not, I'll just send it in the group text. But, Bailey has been saying, I don't know. But I really think that the children are ushering this evolution. They're ushering in this evolution that we're experiencing, because it started in February with Caden. Caden left my room and started arguing with his sisters, and I was like, in what world is this okay? This isn't okay. We got to fix this. And then it jumped to Angel, who was in her, unaliving space. And so we're all coming together to figure out how to keep her from unaliving herself. And something that she disclosed yesterday, she was like, I was never suicidal. She was like, it was just a phase that I went through. I was like, yeah, but some kids don't grow out of that phase. Some kids actually attempt and succeed. So we can't discount. Yeah, we know you were trying on different personas. You were trying on the dark, emo girl. You were trying on all these things. You were trying on the forgotten middle child. You were trying all these different personas on. And I recognize that. But I also recognize as you try on these different personas, you have now tried on a very dangerous identity. A troubled child who doesn't feel loved. A troubled child who feels their life is miserable. A troubled child who feels the only solution to their misery is to not be here anymore. So yes, I'm happy that you're aware that this was just a trial run for you to see how this identity fits. But know that there are children who have also tried on this identity and have not made it out. There's adults who have tried on this identity and have not made it out. So we can't take that for granted just because we have successfully pulled you out of this space. And those of you who are potentially dealing with this with your children or a family member, I don't know about the older ages, i.e. an adult, but for my child, it was a cry for attention. And it wasn't a cry for more of the attention that I was giving. It was a cry for more of the attention that she needs. It was a cry for sit down with me and get to know me. And even though she's not comfortable sharing herself with me, she is becoming more comfortable sharing herself with me. Because a story I will get to before, in a bit, I'm almost done with this, but she said last night, she was like, Mom, you don't want to know my internal thoughts. I was like, child, something you need to know about me, and something that I realized is every time I birthed a child, I birthed myself, or I rebirthed myself. Now that doesn't mean that I need to create a carbon copy of myself. What that means is I gave birth to a part of my personality. Bailey is a part of my personality. Angel is a part of my personality. Michael is a part of my personality. And Caden is a part of my personality. The unfortunate thing for Bailey and Angel is they are also a part of their father's personalities, and they're not around to help guide them through whatever aspects of their personalities align with their fathers. But I have awareness enough to know that, and I can help guide them through that. Sorry. Dry lips. And so I told Angel, I was like, I do want to know your inner thoughts. I can guarantee whatever you say to me, I have probably thought worse. You ain't got nothing on my brain, child. And so I'm letting her know that it's okay to be you in front of me. No judgment, no consequences. Because if you allow yourself, if your child allows themselves to be themselves in front of you, then your child is able, hey Coco, then you are able to guide your child through what you've already gone through. So we have to stop looking at our children like they're problems. Our children are not problems. Our children are us. And they are a problem to solve. I'm going to jump off of this in a topic that I wanted to talk about. What is a problem? Problems aren't real, and that's something that I realized when I was doing interviews and going around and talking about this book. I was like, there's no such thing as a problem. Where does problem come from? This morning I made the connection to mathematics. Mathematic problem. When we have a problem in math, is that a stop gate? Is that a boop? It's a problem. Go the other direction. No. Mathematically, we use our analytical brain to solve it. We analyze it and we solve it. And what's even more amazing about solving a math problem, math has steps.
Mommy?
Yes.
We have popsicles.
No popsicles.
Is the light bulb on?
I don't know anything about the popsicles, and I can't go look now, so I'm going to say no. But you can eat some fruit?
No.
Okay. You have to shut this door so that I can put my phone back because it's about to fall. You know.
So, let me dump open.
Get you some goldfish? I'll get you some goldfish. Sorry, I got to get him some goldfish, but you can still hear me while I'm talking. You know, in math, we don't step in front of my camera. Well, I guess you can step where you want to. They're going to be looking at my knees anyway. In math, you know, we have to solve a problem. We don't just stop.
Why was there one like this?
I know, but we're not playing that game right now, so get down. I think you can have some more. I just got to create a space. There. That's sufficient. That's all you get for the day. So you can either sit up and eat them now, or you can eat some now and eat some later. You don't have to disclose, or you don't have to tell me. Go on about your business.
I eat them later.
Eat some now, eat some later. I think that's smart. That way you can enjoy some now and enjoy some later. Good job, Bubba. I don't want any goldfish. I want you to close my door so I can move my light. Bye, dear. Will you shut my door as well? Shut my bedroom door, please. So in math, when we run across a problem, we don't say, oh, no, I'm stopped. No. In math, when we come across a problem, we solve it. And the cool thing about math problems is I think it's called an equation? I don't know. An order of operation? I don't know. I know those are our math terms, but I don't know what they relate to. But what I know is step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. If you follow these specific steps, you're going to get the right answer. So that's what we're doing here. We are documenting the process to solve all of these problems. I am deconstructing my life, which means my life, I am completely doing everything, redoing everything. Most of us, we make our changes piece by piece. I have chosen to change my life all at once. So I'm solving a lot of problems. But in doing that, I'm like, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, solution. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, solution. No such thing as a problem, just a growth opportunity. Problem on the spirit, solution with the soul. So we must tap in. Hey, Von Trees. I'm reading my long-ass Facebook posts. Before I made long-ass videos, I was like, who's Fro? Before I made long-ass videos, I wrote long-ass Facebook posts. So we're reading my Facebook posts. Thank you for the love. If I saw my... I deserve the freedom every single person in my family has had. I deserve the freedom to do exactly as I please, help occasionally, and not be branded lazy for it. Everybody in my family is allowed to do exactly what they want to do when they want to do it. I'm the only one who, when I do what I want to do, when I want to do it, I'm lazy. Why am I lazy? I'm doing exactly what you do. You help occasionally, you cook occasionally, you clean occasionally, but I am on Facebook. I'll message you my information. I have a Facebook profile, but I'm rarely over there. I'm over here. This is where the action is. But yes, I'll send you my information and we can connect, but I don't really post over there because, I'm thinking about, let me know, Von Treese, and let me know, Coco, if you're still there. And Meta, I see you liking, so I still see you out there. Join the conversation. But what do you guys think about starting a Facebook group kind of where we can, talk to each other, sister, support type, situation in a Facebook group? You think that's more personal than what we have going on here? Would that be an added piece that could help us grow the community? Would it help you? Let me know. I deserve the right to restructure how jobs are handled because soon my family, I will be out more than I am in. I don't know, that was a bad sentence. I didn't proofread. But anyway, I deserve the right to restructure how jobs are handled because soon I will be out more than I am in. And that may not mean physically. I think I'm figuring out how to run an empire from my bedroom. So that means that I am building a business. Y'all know I sit in my bed. I am building my business from my bedroom, which means wherever this is going, and this is Tabitha Brown's story, and I'm not comparing, I'm just using her story to help the little breadcrumbs that let me know where I'm going. We don't have to reinvent the wheel if there's somebody who has already walked the walk. Beyonce, I've seen her evolve her energy and become the mega superstar that she is, energy-wise. Tabitha Brown, she said in her interview she started just sitting, filming videos in her bed, and now she's doing, oh, you don't have Facebook, yeah. So then you wouldn't benefit from that. But, and the funny thing is, I made the connection Meta because that's what Facebook is going by now. So I just knew you had a Facebook friend. What inspired your name, if you don't mind sharing? And so, Tabitha Brown started what she's doing, recording videos in her bed. So it may look like I'm doing nothing to my family, but to me, with the vision that I have, I know that I'm doing something, and I'm doing something big. I don't know what it is because, we don't believe we're doing anything until society buys in. We don't believe we're doing anything until, the money starts coming in, and we discount Almeda. Okay, I love it. Well, hey, Almeda. So I'm building a legacy sitting in my bed. Some big things are coming, and I'm taller on a spiritual level. I'm taller? I'm talking. Some big things are coming, and I'm talking on a spiritual level. Our entire reality is about to shift. I hope you did the work to form strong bonds, because where we're about to go, everybody can't come. So that's pretty much, see, look, boom. I have identified that some humans are leeches. Good, see? You handling your business, Meta. I say this is like a podcast. You know what I'm saying? This is like a podcast. Just put this thing on and listen. Now, the likes and the shares, that help, push the content out there so other people know that I'm out here. But, just sit down and watch. I appreciate my number not being at 0. Meta, you are my MVP today. I appreciate you. Thank you. And so, in June 2022, I said I'm going to change my life. And I am. But I'm not only going to change my life in the way that you guys have observed. All of this is going to change. All of this. We will be in retreats. That's okay, Meta, because you don't need Facebook. One day we will be having and holding retreats. And we will work together to plan those retreats. Because if y'all already see how I move, your input is important. I move with you in consideration. So we gonna get it. Yes, Vaughn, we will. Vaughn, I already got a job for you. Don't you worry. I'm figuring you out. Y'all don't know, I'm watching every single one of y'all. As I build this, I'm watching every single one of y'all. Because I'm like, boom, I got a place for you, got a place for you, got a place for you. We about to boss the fuck up. We didn't come together just so we can sit and send hearts on TikTok. No, we came together for some powerful shit, and I know that. So, don't you worry. We will definitely be doing our retreats. Oh yeah. And everybody can go. So I've identified that, there's slug humans. There's people who vibrate extremely low. Everybody can't go where you're headed. As you continue to climb the stairs, there's people who may have been climbing with you. But as you continue, they can't go. And we can't allow loyalties to keep us linked and bound to people who are dissenters. And I have identified dissenters within our camps. And the dissenters that are within our camps are default dissenters, i.e. family members. You can shift and shake your friends, but you can't shift and shake your family, especially when the family is your mama and your daddy. So. But I hope you built some strong bonds, and you're not just calling when you need money, or you're not just calling to remind somebody your birthday's coming up, or you're not just calling because you want something. I hope you're calling because you truly show concern for us. I hope you're keeping connections and relationships with us, not because it benefits you, but because it benefits you to benefit us. True selfishness is selflessness. Available at LoneeTaylorArt.com. Beautiful t-shirt. I love it. But true selfishness is selflessness. So, yes, I'm staying connected. I learned Von Treese's name. Why? Because now I can connect. And now we have a friendship. And Von Treese has learned things about me. Coco has learned things about me. Coco will repeat me back to me in a second. And I'm like, damn, you actually listen to me. And I need to listen to myself. Von Treese is my moderator. And I didn't ask her. She just assumed the role. She bossed up. She showed up for me. So I show up for her. And that's how we build these bonds. But if your family members are not building bonds and they're only calling you and they're only watching you and they're only your friends because they could benefit from you, well, what's the benefit for me? Like, I'm down for you, but how are you down for me? Because if you are not showing me you're down for me, then I ain't got shit for you. I know what true loyalty looks like. I know what true loyalty looks like. I receive it from you guys. That doesn't mean we don't love you. It just means that minimum effort you made, to stay relevant will be accepted in this existence, but rejected in the next. So the people who are making minimal effort to be a part of your life. I have a aunt who used to spam me with scripture and video every morning. That was the effort she was making to be connected with me. And I received that because I was like, at her level, this is her level of connectivity. My cousin said you need to look at our family like broken hoses. A hose is only able to give the capacity that it's able to give. If there's a kink in the hose isn't going to be able to give full capacity. So why are you looking at the hose like, why aren't you working? Well, there's a kink in the hose. That's why the hose is giving out minimal effort. So stop looking for an effort that only has minimal capacity to give you full capacity. It's not possible unless they choose. And if they're not choosing, who are you truly getting upset at? You're either going to choose to receive the love that they're willing to give or the relationship they're willing to give at their level. But if it's not feeding you, you're choosing to be depleted. You're choosing to be leached off of. And if that's your choice, that's cool. But that's no longer my choice. So my aunt, I was like, look, either we have relationship, but this connectivity of you sending me spam messages every morning, but when I ask you a very real question, like, hey, can you send me a picture of your dad? Because Spirit told me he wanted, which I still need to print the picture out. You know, my grandfather told me he wanted me to put the picture of him in his army uniform on my altar. I was like, okay. So I called, and yes, my grandfather's dead, so I'm not putting real people. And yes, I talk to dead people. I see dead people. I don't see them. Actually, I see energy, but it's a whole nother conversation. But anyway, so I messaged my aunt, but that's just a case where she actually responded to me, but I speak directly to this woman and she does not speak back to me. She ignores that, but then she sends her goddamn spam emails the next day or spam text messages. I was like, this is not how I want to remain connected to you. So either be the mother that you positioned yourself in my life to be, because she took me in when I moved to Arizona. She took on the mother role for me, but she was never a mother to me. She just housed me. But she was a mother to her children. To her 3 children, she was an amazing mother to them. And I just stood there and watched what it's like to have a mother. So I was like, you can be my aunt and send me spam texts. That's cool. But you have taken on a mother role for me. And my mother does not just send me text messages, not when you have full group text messages collaboration with your birth children. If I can't be treated like that, if we can't have the conversation so that you can treat me like that, I don't want it. Because I don't even open your fucking text messages. I'm just like, At least I know she's still alive, right? But she stopped. She stopped sending me the messages. So your minimal effort of connectivity will be, I like the way I said it, will be accepted in this existence and rejected in the next. So you just calling me to, hey, baby, how you doing? I'm such an asshole. I know exactly the people I'm talking about, but I'm trying not to say it. But you got to come hard. I hope you bonded. That's all I'm going to say. I hope you bonded. And I bonded more with these people on this here internet than I have with those people who I don't want them at all. I bonded more with the people who have known me my whole life. I bonded more with you guys than I have with them. Only those who fed into us will remain because they understand the circle of life. You must give to receive. I knew I called y'all leeches for a reason. My family want to see some real lazy people. They need not look at me. Hey, Afro. Did you get the... Oh, hold on. Hold on, Afro. Don't go. Oh, no, Afro. Where'd it go? Hold on, I may have to go in another room. But this is very important. I'm sorry, y'all. I got something for you. Okay, I gotta go check the other room. Hold on. Sorry if it's a mess. Afro! All right. Sorry. Put y'all back in my studio real quick. Boom. There it goes. Afro! Look what I got. Boom. Yes. Told you I got you, sis. I haven't read it yet, but I got it. Afro is another author that I met here on TikTok. She hopped into one of my lives and said, she just mentioned, hey, I'm an author. I was like, I got you, sis. And I got her. I haven't read the book. Let's see. Hi. No, I'm not going to read the book. I'm going to read a little bit to, suck you in. Hi. I used to be an elementary school teacher. This is for y'all. So you can see the illustrations. All right, we're going to read Trinity Learns Self-Love. Such beautiful illustrations. Look at the cover. Can anybody guess what this book is going to be about? My goodness. I know I love her hair. What do you love? Bubble in your mouth. Keep it to yourself to the end. Hi, my name is Trinity, and I am a 7-year-old. This is my journey of learning how to love me first. Look at that powerful kick. When you wake up in the morning, before you start your day, pick up your mirror and to yourself you say the words out loud with confidence and a smile. What do you guys think she's going to say? Think in your head. What do you think Trinity's going to say to herself? I will love me first. And y'all got to get the book to read the rest. Yes, I'm very excited. I could read this to my sons. Just because the main character or the book has a little girl on it, there's no reason why I can't read this for my boys. So, awesome. Yes, it's a beautiful, first of all, you already know, sister support. So, oh, you have 3 grandbabies? Get you one. Let's see. Same, I feel disconnected from family, but no bonds were established early. They don't understand the value of bonds. I'm going that with my husband, where I'm just like, you need to have these conversations with your kids. My husband has beautiful spirit bonds with his children, i.e. current incarnation, dad's dope bonds, but he doesn't know his children. He doesn't ask them questions. He doesn't try to get into their heads, and so that's what I'm trying to encourage. I'm trying to encourage that deep bond to where Bailey's like, I can't go a day without talking to you. I said, yeah, because I done wormed my way into you. Good. I want you to always be connected with me. And that's not for selfish reasons. It's because I know that I have effectively touched my child's soul, which is what I want. I want to touch my children's soul, which means I bring value to their daily lives and they bring value to my daily lives. And I don't want that to be a codependency, but I also want that to be a relationship that is valued from the womb to the tomb. All right. So that's the letter that I wrote on Facebook. I wanted to talk about, just really quick, Let me make sure my door is closed. I recorded it on live, but my phone ran out of battery life, so this part of the conversation did not get put on live. But on Saturday, I was talking about how Bailey was like, I don't want to tell you about this because I know you're not going to give me the answer that I want. I told the wrong story. The real story is she was at work and there's this little guy who works for Coca-Cola, and I guess he's cute. And, you know, she giving him the eye or whatever, and he noticing her, noticing him and type situation. And I guess there's another Coca-Cola employee who comes through the store that Bailey is familiar with. So this guy comes through Bailey's line, and he's an older gentleman. I don't know what older is to Bailey, so I'm going to assume 30s, 40s, whatever. He's an older gentleman. And she's like, hey, so-and-so, you know, tell him blah, blah, blah. I'm not sure how the connection happened. But the older guy is like, okay, I'll talk to him for you. And he comes back and he's like, I got good news and bad news. Or something like that. Pretty much, it's not looking good. Pay attention to that. This man came back to my 18-year-old child and was like, it's good and bad. And she's like, well, what does that mean? Well, he likes you too, but I don't think it's going to work out because he's 27. And, you know, Bailey, she's in the age ain't nothing but a number phase. And I'm just like, yo, that's a no. She's like, why is it a no? And initially it's a no because he's 27. But, you know, that's not enough for someone like Bailey to be like, you're right. She's like, what does age mean? I was like, Bailey, if we know that we have evolutions every 6 to 7 years, we are a different being. And if we know that we are constantly evolving and leveling up and we are constantly walking up the stairs and getting better, what does a 27-year-old possibly have in common with an 18-year-old? He should live in a completely different world than you. Not because he's 27, but because if you are looking for progressive individuals, remember, we are setting our standards up front. If we are looking for progressive individuals, oh, did I tell you? Amazon. If we are looking for progressive individuals to align ourselves with, why would you align with something knowing? Because I was like, Bailey, you have witnessed this entire family evolve in 6 months. You have watched yourself change your entire mentality in 6 months. You are a completely different person. So how is this 27-year-old feeling that he has anything in common with your 18-year-old ass except for trying to get between your legs? And why would you, who you're looking for progressive people to surround yourself with, why would you align yourself with someone who is X amount of years older than you? Y'all know I don't do math. And not think that you're walking into a trap. But I also addressed the man. I was like, because this is your mom and, you know, I'm telling you it's a bad idea from an evolutionary perspective. A maturation perspective, it's a bad idea. But also, let's look at this man that came and delivered the information for you. Because this is a problem with our men. When that older man heard that my 18-year-old daughter likes this 27-year-old man, and this 27-year-old man likes my 18-year-old daughter, that older man should have been like, bruh, that ain't even a good look. I don't care how he addresses it, but he should have addressed his peers. That's our problem in our community. We don't check our peers. We're like, well, it's not my life. The old man was like, she's not my little girl. Because that's why he said, I don't think it's a good idea, or it's not going to work out. You know, that was his way of saying, yeah, no, this ain't it. That was his way of looking out for Bailey. But if he was truly looking out for Bailey, he would have never passed the message on to her. But because she's not his child, because he has somehow disconnected himself from the village, he's going to put the little disclaimer up front, I don't think this is a good idea. But are you truly looking out for either of them? No, because they're both going to waste each other's time, and they're both going to end up using each other or getting used. And you know, ain't no business a 27-year-old got with an 18-year-old. Bailey's father was 32 and I was 18. Ain't no reason. And didn't nobody tell me that. And even if someone said, well, he's way too old for you, girl, I'm like, age ain't nothing but a number. But if you explain it from the maturation space of this man should have evolved 3 times or twice, it should be so elevated that he couldn't even exist in the same space as me. He can have a conversation with me because he has empathy. But we live in totally different worlds, and he lives 2 worlds over than I do. If every 7 years we cycle, your daddy is way over there. Why is he over here? And so I was just like, men, y'all got to start checking each other. Like, there's a viral video going around where this guy is sitting in the car eating whatever he's eating, and he's talking about how his friend was trying to cheat on his girl, and he was like, yeah, and you're not going to do that with me. More of that. That should not be viral worthy. That should be commonplace. You are not going to disrespect your family in front of me. You're not going to disrespect your girlfriend in front of me. And my God, there's this video I saw yesterday. I was going to post a video, a stitch, but I'm not linking back to this person because they don't need no notoriety off of me acknowledging what happened in this video. But I guess the skit was his girlfriend was doing the AI challenge, you know, the thanks for the ice cream, yum, 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 you know, was doing that. And the caption said, when you're sick of your girlfriend doing the AI challenge. And so he walks by and she's doing it, and he comes back with the pillow. But when he hits her with the pillow, she's in the middle of licking ice cream, and so her tongue is out. So you already know with the I'm going to post it, but I'm going to take the link out of it. And I'm going to take any identifiers to him out of it because I don't want his brand to grow from this. Right now, he's fledgling over there. He has about, however many followers, but he doesn't have the views. He doesn't have the like. He's trying to build his brand, but his brand is literal. It's just disgusting. But the velocity that he hits her with this pillow, like, I'm going to post a video and you're going to see, but it was terrible. And I was like, young lady, you are pimping yourself out. And I'm not sure why you're pimping yourself out. Because I went and watched some other videos because I said what I said in my video. I was like, let me go see what this dude's content is about just out of curiosity. And then there's this video of this girl same girl on her knees like this, and her mouth is open, and he pours milk in her mouth, and then, that bullshit, pours milk in her mouth, and he dips an Oreo in her mouth, and he takes a bite of the Oreo, and then his friend comes up, takes an Oreo, and dips the Oreo in her mouth, and then takes another bite, I'm telling you, and takes another bite of the Oreo, and, he's looking at him crazy. Now, he's not looking at him crazy like, how you gonna come dip an Oreo in my girl's mouth? And why are you letting him dip an Oreo in my mouth? No, the caption says, I can't believe he's eating an Oreo from her mouth. He must not know where her mouth has been. And I was just like, young lady, I ain't got shit to say to this ignorant ass muff. He's just one of many. But you, my dear, especially in this age of all this shit is permanent, you are in your dumb 20s and you are allowing yourself to be physically abused, sexually whatever they call it, where you, like, it's just so sad, and she doesn't even see it. And I get it, she's living her best life. I get it. I was in my 20s too, and my only saving grace was there was no social media. I did a lot of dumb stuff. But we can't allow our 20-something-year-olds to go through life. I can't allow my 18-year-old to link up with a 27-year-old without telling her. These are all the things that lie ahead. And so, it was sad. But that's what she was like, I'm not going to tell you about it. And I was like, yeah, that 27-year-old, that ain't the lick, sis. That ain't the lick. There's plenty more of opportunities to get piped down, I'm sure, by someone more in your age group who is probably more evolved and progressive, and someone you can actually have a conversation with after the pipe section. I'm sorry if the language I'm using in relation to that topic with my child may be too much for you, but we're free. We talk. We heal. Now, in our last bit, I want to talk about the connection I was able to make with Angel yesterday. I'm so excited about this. Yesterday, thank you. Yesterday we had a family meeting. No, we didn't have a family meeting. It was just more to talk. We don't necessarily have organized family meetings so much so as we just all start talking, which is beautiful. You know what I'm saying? Because before we never talked unless it was family meeting time. Now we can have some heart-to-hearts. No, we just have heart-to-hearts all the time. And so last night, after we got into the mom's lazy because she doesn't want to cook conversation, there's always, Lonee is failing us somehow. How is Lonee failing us today? Like, always. They always are calling me out on my shortcomings, but are all completely unaware of their own shortcomings, or they have an excuse for their shortcomings. But I'm not allowed to have an excuse because I'm mom and I'm wife. It's so ridiculous, the standards we put on women. We sit here and we think we're perfect. It's not that we think we're perfect. Everybody else thinks we're perfect, and so we must be perfect. When do we have time to do the work on ourselves? We have to be around people who allow us, even our children. Our children have to allow us the space to do the work. And Bailey is allowing, because the work that I'm doing, and this is what I said earlier, my kids are really fueling this evolution. Bailey's allowing me to do the work because Bailey has been telling me for years, and even now, as she continues to awaken, she's continuing to tell me things again, where she was like, we need to have a schedule, and I was like, I don't know what a schedule is, and then yesterday I was like, well, if we had a schedule, and she was like, I was like, look, you are leading this, and I'm going to allow you to lead. I need to stop every time you suggest something, instead of me combating it, I'd be like, okay, I have received that you are leading this leg of the journey. That's what partnership is, and your children are your partners. Your spouse is your partner. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm allowing you to lead the journey. And yes, you're only 18 and I'm 42, but damn it, you clearly got more going on than I do, so help me out. And so after we had that conversation, I mentioned on Saturday that Angel's accountability, no longer punishment, no longer consequence, her accountability plan, because we want her to take accountability. I don't want her to be punished. I don't want her to have a negative perception. It's not a punishment. You need to take accountability. And you need to develop and evolve yourself. And so her accountability, what's the word? Where'd I wrote it down? Anyway, accountability plan is, I told her she's going to have to write me a story. That's how it ended up. That's how it started. I was like, okay, I want you to write me a story. Every day you write me a page or more. And if you do that in addition to your chores, because the thing is, Angel, I don't know what Angel knows about herself. And Angel's not forthcoming. In our conversation, she was like, I can't share with you what I think and what I know. I was like, why not? You're me. I'm sure you ain't gonna say nothing that I ain't ever thought, or that is so unfathomable that I'm like, gasp. And even if I am like, gasp, thank you for sharing with me, so now I can help you navigate this. Not, don't share with me, talk to your friends about it. Not, don't share with me and don't talk to anyone about it, and now you're out here trying to figure out by yourself. Please talk to me so I can help you. Even if it means me getting you help. Talk to me. And so, I was like, I want you to write the story, but I want you to tell your story. And she said, and this is just so beautiful. I'm going to tell you, this is so beautiful. God is so freaking amazing. That's why we cannot think that we're out here by ourselves. We cannot think that we're out here by ourselves. Because just pay attention to this story. And I'm going to try to stay focused. Tunnel vision, Lonee. We're having our conversation. I lost my train of thought. Whenever I tell myself to stay focused, I lose my damn train of thought. Anyway, we're in the kitchen talking, and she's telling me that she can't tell me her inner thoughts. And I told her, boom, she needs to tell her story. And I gave her the outline initially. And, you know, when I was talking on Saturday about these two boys that potentially could be plotting on her. And if you're curious, I'm uploading the live to Lonee Appleton Lives on YouTube. Make sure you follow, and you can catch the story there. But I told her about these two guys that are potentially plotting on her, and I was like, that's your storyline. Tell me that story. How would that happen if it played out? She gonna bring me her whole story on one page. It really was a conversation conclusion. And I was like, yeah, that's not gonna work for me. That's lazy. I was like, Angel, one thing you need to learn about me is I read energy. And one of the ways that I can read energy is through writing. So I can read someone's writing, and I can read their energy from the writing. I don't know how I do it. I just know that I do it. And so I know when you just sat down and wrote some bullshit. And I know when you poured your soul into this. And you just sat down and wrote some bullshit. But even in that, she was like, I tried. I pushed myself. I was like, sis, if this is your try and you pushing yourself, then we got work to do. She said, I went there. I was like, this is some bullshit. And after we talked, I was like, okay, I won't respond to your writing that way anymore. But I was like, you got to give me the rest of these 24 hours. So before the clock struck midnight this morning, I was like, I'm going to speak freely. And after at 12:01, I will then become progressive and uplifting and all these different things. But if I could just be honest, this was lazy. You didn't put no effort into this. You didn't put no energy into this. And every time you turn in something to me that has no effort, no energy, you're going to lose your phone. You're going to lose your computer. You're going to lose distractions, because the accountability process, I don't know what the other word is, plan, boom. The accountability plan that we have in place is in place because I need you to figure out who you are. I need you to find your identity. You are still out here trying on identities, and you're still so focused in on what's going on in the outside world, and you're not dealing with your inside world. And I refuse to turn you out into this world not knowing who you are. It is my responsibility to create an environment for you to know thyself. Now, once you know who you are, what you pile on top of that is you. That's why the little girl who's getting milk poured in her mouth and niggas dipping Oreos in her mouth, 5 years from now, she's going to be a completely different person. You're like, man, you changed, you evolved. No, you didn't. You just tried on a whole new mask and a whole new persona. That girl is doing what gets her attention today. And when that stops getting her the attention and she realizes she deserves better, then she's going to put on another mask, and she's going to put on another mask, and she's going to put on another mask. She's going to continue to put on masks until she does the work to know thyself. And if thyself is that person, then boom. What does that look like? Is that person, this uber sexy, freaky individual, is that private for your man or your woman, or is that a public persona? If it's a public persona, then whatever you're putting out there, you need to be able to live with for the rest of your life. If you're not able to live with your decisions, then that means you're making decisions based off of something that you can't live with. You're making your decisions from the physical realm. You're not making your decisions from the spiritual realm. No one can come to me and tell me, well, you said XYZ, or you did XYZ. And I'll be like, what's your point? You can't come to me and shame me for anything that I've done, because everything that I've done, no matter how extreme, the ball gag photos where I was doing my dominatrix photo shoots because I was really into Dom, you know, the embarrassment would be you guys finding out that because the photographer posted the videos or the pictures because he has rights to the photos. You know, that's where the embarrassment would come out. It wouldn't be that I took the actual photos, because that is a side of me. Shit, I love kink. I don't practice it or anything like that. I don't own a ball gag, but damn it, I bought one for that photo shoot. I was like, because that's something that I fantasize about. Now, if Dre was like, hey, let's go buy something, I'd be like, all right, let's go. Let's play. So you can't shame me. But you can't tell me 5 years from now, you pull up that video where that man is knocking the shit out of you with a pillow for likes. And then you ain't even getting no likes. He physically assaulted you for 3 likes. 200 views. Because you know they cap us at $2.99. He physically assaulted you and you allowed. He sexually degraded you and allowed his friends, and he implied the homies have some too, by you sitting there like a fucking puppy. Sorry, this is not hate speech. Like a freaking puppy getting Oreos and milk. You're going to wake up 5 years from now and you're not going to be proud of that. So we have to make sure that our youth are empowered to know the decisions you're making. Is it something that you can look back 40 years, for 20 years from now, 5 years from now, 1 year from now, 6 months from now, and be proud of? If it's not, don't make that decision. Especially, who are you making that decision for? Because in the comments, somebody was like, man, you lucky she don't leave you. And he was like, she already gone and replaced. Switch up game fierce. Like, that's a flex. Like, you ain't did no healing in between. I don't even know if they're really boyfriend and girlfriend, because I know this is a dynamic now. But I was looking at how Lil Scrappy is back with Diamond or Princess. I don't know which one, from Crime Mob. We rockin' stilettos, huh? We rockin' stilettos, huh? Y'all know who Crime Mob is. You know, he's with one of them, but he just bounced from Bambi, which is his ex-wife, and he bounced from Erica to Bambi. So he bounced from Erica, and I think Bucky Shay was in there, and somewhere, then Bambi was in there, and then now, Anyway, it doesn't even matter. What I'm saying is he has bounced from woman to woman to woman to woman. Why do women need time to heal in between relationships, but somehow men don't think they need time to heal in between relationships? Time to reflect, time to evolve, time to be better. How do they not know that they need that? So for him to be like, switch up game fierce, like, on to the next that quick. Okay. You just proud to be toxic, huh? You just toxic and proud. So anyway, back to Angel. I told her, write me this story. And initially, she brought me her story and I was reading it. And I was like, judging it. I wasn't judging it. I was reading it from a teacher perspective. Thank you. I was reading it from in the past, I would have read it from a mother perspective. And a mother, I would have judged her. I've judged my kids. I have. But the pendulum, right? Judgment here. Judgment here. Exclusive. We have to judge on some level. We have to see a difference on some level. In order to level up from relationship with others, we have to see a difference. The difference in seeing the difference is I am measuring my difference against your difference, and I'm using my difference as a form of superiority. Judgment, I see your difference and I see my difference. I mean, on the healthy side of judgment, I see your difference and I see my difference, and I see a growth opportunity. So there's a space for judgment. There's a space to judge and evaluate. I guess another word that can be used. But there's a space to look at the differences between us and use them to empower us, or to use them to make us feel superior. And in some case, use those spaces to make us feel inferior, because we also judge people and we feel bad after we look at how good they got it going on. And isn't that something? They're getting married and we're single. They're getting money and we're not. You know, their career is taking off and ours isn't. You know, it's all these topical, superficial things. It's not, oh my gosh, I used to lie and I don't lie anymore. I used to steal and I don't steal anymore. I used to cheat and I don't cheat anymore. Nobody talks about that healing and that evolution and those pride points. Those are things we keep hush, hush. So I can't look at the true change and evolution you're making, because you're like, oh, got a new job, making 20,000 more than I used to. Oh, got a new man, you know, oh, look at my new house. Nothing wrong with that, because I'm gonna post all that shit too. But I'm not posting it from a perspective of look at me. I'm posting it from a perspective of you guys watched me get it out the mud. And now that you've watched me get it out the mud, you too. Let's talk about it. Let's figure this shit out. You know, so we have to figure out our motivation, and then we have to figure out our motivation on the other side. So why are we posting and why are we observing? If we're not observing others to use them as guides to evolve and grow ourselves, then why the hell are we being voyeurs in somebody else's life? Because all this is a form of voyeurism. You guys are sitting there watching me. You're being voyeurs. And if you're being a voyeur, I like to be voyeurized, so don't worry about it. Gang, gang. You know, but why are you being a voyeur? If you're not being a voyeur because you found a connectivity point, why are you being a voyeur? Because you found someone that you can help evolve and grow. You found a conversation that you can finally tap into. Von Treese, I have been racking my brain. I was like, why do these older women attract to me? Because you finally found someone you could talk to. Sis, I get it. It has been such a lonely road, and I finally have found somebody I could talk to. I talked to this 27-year-old little girl, and she's probably looking at me like, why is this grown-ass woman talking to me? Because I finally found somebody I could talk to. I don't care how old you are. When you have a meeting of minds, we can meet minds. I can now have thought-provoking conversations with my 18-year-old. I'm not looking at my 18-year-old like, I can't talk to you, you're 18. No, I was like, oh, you get what I'm saying? Oh, this don't sound like I'm overthinking and I'm making shit up. You understand? Well, girl, guess what? I got something else to tell you. And so you should be looking for people that grow you. You should be looking for people that when you are looking at them and you see the differences, you see growth opportunities, not only for you, but for them. And that's why we talk in the comments and we share and we converse in our video, in the comment section of the videos and potentially the Facebook group, because we're sharing our differences for growth. We're not sharing our differences for judgment. We're not sharing our differences to tear each other down. No, we're sharing our difference in perspectives to be like, oh, shoot, yeah, that's right. You know, we're not looking to get offended. We're looking to elevate. So anyway, Angel writes her stuff and I'm reading it, and initially I'm judging it and I'm like, well, she could really develop these. A lot of the things you talk about, I've been through. I know. So I was like, why does Vaughn kick it with me? I think it's because our energies vibe. Tell me why you kick it with me. I created my own answer, but I can ask you, why do you kick it with me, Von Treese? You know, because also, I know as I experience these different points in my awakening, Bailey is like, it's so exciting, or it's so good to watch you have these awakenings. Like, Bailey has been saying what she's saying, so she has wisdom beyond her years. And the things that she's been saying, I'm awakening to, and she's actually, you know, she's experiencing joy because she's just like, watching you wake up is really cool. And I was like, okay, so you've been through what I've already been through, so it may be fun for you to watch me have the revelations, you know, and do the work. And it's not that you're giving me the answers. It's just like, you're like, she's getting it. You getting it? Yes, Von Treese. This is the 27-year-old. I'm like, you are a younger version of me. So I love talking to her because I'm like, it's like talking to myself. Yes, I'm not crazy. I was like, that's so narcissistic of you. She is not a 27-year-old version of you. I'm like, I don't know, because this little girl sounds like me. If I had this brain in my 27-year-old body, it would be this woman right here. And so you saying that, it just affirms for me that, yeah, we find like-minded people, and the age may or may not matter when we find them. So that's dope. I love it. Love you, Vaughn. So anyway, I'm reading her story and I'm like, she could write this so much better if she really put effort forth. But this is me assuming she has the capacity to put effort forth. Who has taught my child how to write? I don't know. I know I love writing. I know I love writing. I know. And before that, I was writing poetry. Before that, I was writing songs. Before that, I was writing. I wrote my first book when I was in elementary school. It was called The Sun and the Moon. It was about how the sun and the moon both came out at the same time. And they were beefing. And then they finally came to a space of compromise where it's like, okay, I'll come out at night and you come out during the day. Like, I was in elementary thinking that way. So I've been writing and I was like, okay, this is a place where we can connect. This is something that she enjoys and this is something that we can do. We can connect. But I'm thinking from the teacher and punishment perspective instead of how can I bring in something that she loves and help her grow from it, because ultimately what I want from her is to get to know herself. So I don't want you to write from a completely fictional space where you are not a part of the character. And she was like, I don't want to tell people my business. I was like, Angel, what's the energy behind what you do? Now take that energy and apply it going to get ice cream. Apply it going to the movies with a friend. Apply it to whatever scenario you want. I'm not telling you to write down your explicit life. What I'm telling you is the motivation, the energy, all of the things that are you, that goes into the particular activity you're going to do. That is what I want you to capture. And you can take that energy and move it anywhere you want to within your story. You don't have to tell your explicit story, but you can write yourself into these characters. And so she's fighting me. She's like, I don't want to. I don't even like to write, even though you come to me all the time. Mom, you want to hear my story, but you don't like to write? I always quit writing. Well, you don't have to quit this time, because this is how you remain connected to the outside world, is you have to write me a page a day. And she just, I was like, look, you give me the page, because I just went to the computer and I just started rewriting it. I was just like, I'm going to rewrite this and show her how this should be developed. How this should be developed. Like, this superiority, I'm judging, right? And I was just like, and so I told her, I was like, okay, new rule. I was like, we're going to write this together. But as you bring me a page, and if you did not put any energy into this, I'm going to rewrite it. So either you give me the next leg of the story, or she's in the 6th grade, or you give 11 years old, or you give me the outline of the story. So you choose. You give me the next page or you give me the next outline, and I rewrite. But while I'm sitting there rewriting this, and I was like, this is too good. I'm keeping this shit. But I don't need to rewrite her work, because that's going to maybe create something I don't want to create. And I want to do this with her. I want to write this story with her. And so I was like, okay, you can submit to me whatever you submit to me. You determine how much you submit to me. You don't have to write me a page. If you want to write me one sentence, and that'll be your contribution. But you must write for me daily. You must write from your heart daily. Because in writing from your heart, you are exploring yourself. And what I believe to be true, and this is why this is so magical. She was like, does the person have to be a kid? I was like, no. So she chose a high schooler. The biggest issue that we've been having with Angel is she still acts like a child. A couple lives back, I mentioned this, where her therapist kind of person, not a therapist, but the person that was working with her, I don't know their title, she was saying Angel is caught between her younger brothers and her older sisters. So she oscillates between being a child and trying to be an adult while she's trying to find her identity. I was like, that makes perfect sense. So when she started writing, and she started writing from the high school perspective, but while she's sitting there, she's like, I'm only 11. I don't know why you're expecting so much from me. I'm only 11. And I'm like, but you want to be grown. Vontrice. You already know, sis. You know, so she's like, I'm only 11. And I was like, you have to level up. Our biggest fight with you is you still act like a child. And we're trying to give you adult freedoms, i.e., be a part of the collective. No longer the parent authority, child subordinate. No. Like, Bailey will say some flippant shit to me in a second, and she's always said it. It's not because she's 18 and now she has the freedom to say what she wants. Bailey been saying dumb stuff to me her whole life. She's had the confidence to speak her mind, and I've allowed her to do it. You know, for the most part, when she was younger, but she done got out of control in her old age. She's out of control. You know, Angel says her slick stuff, but she whispers under her breath. I'm like, Angel, you have the space to say your slick stuff. I was like, I say slick stuff back to my Dre. Bailey says slick stuff back to me. And I say slick stuff to you. You're allowed to say some slick stuff back. Why not? Join the conversation. That's what we're working with Angel. Whatever you got to say, Angel, say it. Stop whispering under your breath. Stop holding resentments towards us. You are a part of this family. You are part of this community. Speak freely. And in your speaking freely, I can correct you. And so, you know, she's mumbling and grumbling, and I'm just like, sis, you chose, I didn't say this to her, but I'm looking at this, and I'm looking at Spirit, and I'm like, man, you crafty such and such. This is the tool that will be used to evolve her to the next level, because she chose to write a high schooler. And when I rewrote what she wrote, I wrote it from, I could find it if you guys want to hear it. I'll let you hear the beginning so you hear some of my writing. But I rewrote it in the language I was using. There's cuss words and stuff like that, and the activities that they're partaking in, because while I was writing, I had to cognizantly not write from the adult perspective, because I wanted to write all these innuendos in there, and I was like, this is not adult content, Lonnie. Dial it back. You are a teenager. What does that look like? So the way that I'm writing, Angel's reading, she's like, what? She said, what? She did this? Where did all these characters come from? I was like, I'm developing the characters. You better get on or get on. And so she's like, oh my God, Mom. I was like, Angel, you're writing a high school character. High schoolers cuss. High schoolers do these things. But you don't know that. But you chose this. So let's go. You obviously have to get into the mental space of a high schooler, i.e. a teenager, in order to develop a character that's believable. Which means you now have to shift your mentality from this kiddie shit that you're doing, and you got to level up. So I was like, my God, this accountability, I can't always remember the second word, but this consequence, I'm going to just use that word, this consequence that I have chosen for her is what Spirit is going to use. I've already tapped into her. Is what's going to level her up. This not only is going to be a bonding point between us, which means, my God, it's going to be so amazing to sit and write a story with my daughter. And I'm so happy that I switched from, if you don't write good enough, I'm going to rewrite it, to, I'm going to keep your content, but the way that you write your content will determine if I continue your story. Which means she started the story in a particular direction. When I rewrote it, I added a whole bunch of new elements to it. And she's like, where did all this come from? I was like, I'm developing a story. I'm developing characters. This is what it looks like. Mom, I don't write like you, which is fine. I receive and I respect that you write from a completely different perspective than I. I just ask that you give it heart. Whatever that looks like, I accept it. I apologize for saying that this is crap and all those different things, because as she explained it to me, I didn't even want to write it, and the fact that I sat down and wrote it means that I tried. I was like, you're right. Because right now I'm running into resistance. But what I want to is inspire her. I want her to read my writing and be like, damn, how can I shit on her real quick? I want to create friendly competition between us. I want her to be better than me. I was like, Angel, your goal should always be to be better than me, which means you take my knowledge, combine it with your knowledge, and now you are better than me. That's what I want. But the only way you can be better than me is to stop reading what I wrote from a space of judgment and read what I wrote to be like, all right, how can I shit on this? How can I make my mom have to go back and level her shit up? And then I'll read hers and I'll be like, damn, okay, how can I level this up? And then she reads mine and she's like, okay, how can I level this up? And and we go back and forth, and now we're elevating each other. And in that elevation, she taps into herself and she's like, damn, what would I do as a teenager? How would I speak as a teenager? How would I move as a teenager? Now I'm creating this character. Now she's creating her character. I'm telling you, Spirit put their foot in this one. I'm so excited. I was like, at the very least, I've been wanting to write a book. LaDonna said, she's a community member. LaDonna posted, she was like, hey, can we get a book? And I was like, sis. And Coco was like, I'm so curious about the sticky notes behind you. I was like, and Coco's another community member. Coco, those sticky notes are book ideas. And there's a panel underneath all of it that has a couple sticky notes on it. Those are the sticky notes that I actually wrote. And actually, the book is on a computer that I can't figure out how to access. So I can't even access what I wrote. But all those sticky notes that you see on the wall in the background of my videos, that's a book I'm supposed to be writing. All these videos I'm recording, I was like, I need to write the second. Remember, I told you at the beginning of this live, this is a 2-part series. This covers the spiritual work you need to do in order to do the physical work. But you can't do the physical work until you get your spirit right. That's what this covers. I was supposed to write the physical work, but I know that I just had my awakening in February. So if I would have wrote how to raise your kids and how to speak to your kids, it would have been from a very master, plantation space, because that's where I was. I was raising my kids by dominating over them. And that's what I would have wrote in my book. And it would have been right because I felt I was right, but it would have been wrong. And I would have been putting more trauma out into the world. That's why I never wrote that second book. I'm sitting here thinking I'm a failure because, man, you set out to write this second book and this is your second series. This is your second series where you didn't write the rest of the series. This is supposed to be a 5-book series and this is supposed to be a 2-book series. This is your second failure, Lonnie. No. You weren't supposed to write this book. You're supposed to film videos. And you can eventually take those videos and bloom them out into this book. And that's how you're supposed to do it. It wasn't a failure. It was an evolution. An evolution! And so I'm really excited. I'm really excited with Angel. Because I'm going to not pressure her. I'm not going to do the typical Lonnie stuff. But what I am going to do is just know that Spirit set this up to level her up. And I'm just going to rest in that. And there will be a book coming that will be co-written between me and Angel. And it's going to be the craziest book ever because we are writing 2 different stories. And so the idea is this is going to be a book that parents can read with their children. But because I'm writing from the perspective that I'm writing, it's going to appeal to the parents. But it may be something that parents want to keep their children sheltered from. Why? This is conversation starters. These are things that, oh my God, you can't read that. Why? You know what I'm saying? These are the things that raises curiosities. These are the things that our kids are already experiencing, whether we want to acknowledge that or not. So they can learn from the streets, they can learn from their peers, or they can learn from you. So the book is going to be written from my perspective, and Angel 100% doesn't agree with my perspective. So when she gets the reins back, she gonna go ahead and do what she do. And then when I get the reins back, because I renamed the characters and everything, she's like, who the hell is that? I was like, oh yeah, you never gave him a name. And she was like, because I want the reader to be able to name him. That's why his name is No Name. And I was like, oh, well, I named him. So it's gonna be a wild ride. To my knowledge, it's never been done where I'm not looking for cohesion. I'm not looking for matching her vibe. I'm looking for taking her vibe and shifting it back to my perspective. And she's going to have to shift it back to her perspective. But in order to shift it back to her perspective, she's going to have to know herself to do so. And the power in the book is the energy behind the book. It's not going to be structurally how books have been written in the past. Like, this book is not structurally how books have been written in the past. But it was a very powerful tool. So this book that we're writing is not going to be how coming of age stories have been written in the past. It's going to be something where a parent and a child can read it together and have some conversations. It's going to be where a parent and a child can now enter into each other's minds and see how they process the world and how they think. And now we can have some conversations. It's going to be something that's never been done before, and I'm really excited about it. Let me see. I literally wrote accountability plan right here. 6-month progress. I told my family 6 months ago, apparently, Angel brought it to my attention, that our whole lives are going to be different in 6 months. Just hold on. Bailey was like, I'm going to join the military recently. And I was like, just give me 6 months. If I can't make this thing pop in 6 months, you're more than free to go join the military. We have since reconvened and had that military conversation again. And aside from my fear of her going to war or being raped by, not hate speech, being essayed by a fellow soldier, aside from those fears and all those different things, I think going into the military is a good idea for her. It'll give her structure. It'll give her, all the things that she doesn't have today. And I used to say when I was a kid, because I grew up in a military household, I am the person that I am today because my father was in the military. Because the military gives you just period. There's only one way to do it. Black and white. And I love that structure. My present life is not black and white. It's all over the place. It's gray, but I love that structure. I used to say when I was a kid, everybody should have to go through a corporate America experience. Everybody should have to do at least a year in corporate America, because that is a whole mind fuck in itself. I was like, everybody should have to go through boot camp, because that is another evolutionary mind fuck that is just like, that's going to give you the spirit of excellence. My spirit of excellence comes from being raised by a military man, that even in his darkest space, he still demanded excellence from me. He didn't demand it from himself, but he still demanded it from me. And I value that, because even though his methods weren't the best, I have a spirit of excellence. And even though my methods with Bailey were not the best, Bailey is my one of 4 who has that spirit of excellence. And I know it comes from that military background. So when we had the conversation again, I was like, if I could remove fear, because let's be honest, Dre came to me yesterday and said a house blew up and a family of 5 just died. Death is everywhere. So how can we fear just because someone is outside of our sight that death becomes them? No, that's control. So that's a control issue that I need to deal with. Because the truth is, anything can happen anytime. I have to trust that she's covered. I have to pray, and I have to keep my family covered, and I also have to understand what's going to happen is going to happen, whether, it's going to happen. So if I could just remove that fear, I'm actually very excited for the idea of her joining the military and gaining that experience. She'll get to travel the world. She'll be able to stack her money because she gets, everything that comes with being in the military. She'll be able to level the fuck up. She could physically get her body where she wants it, like her mentally. Like, it's going to be a good thing for her. And because she came from my 18-year classroom, she's going to be able to go through it and process it the way that it needs to be processed to empower her for her next. So if it's in the cards for her, if it's in her trajectory to go into the military, regardless of what I do in the next 6 months, it's what it is. But anyway, Angel was like, you said in the next 6 months, blah, blah, blah. I was like, okay, I don't know. But let me tell you what has happened in these 6 months. Bailey has dropped the attitude. I have finally gotten Bailey to realize that energy shift that she lives in. She recognized it finally. And she doesn't live in that energy space anymore. Bailey is a completely different person. Bailey is asking different questions. Bailey realizes that she's in a classroom and she's in training. She tells her friends, they're like, oh my God, you're such a good da-da-da. She's like, yeah, I'm in training. She acknowledges that. So she's not taking this for granted anymore. But she's also trying to figure life out for herself. And she's trying to figure out how to separate child into adult. And so she's trying to figure all those things out. And that happened in the last 6 months. I was like, Angel, you have developed a voice in 6 months. 6 months ago, I would talk to you and you would sit there like this. Bye, love you. Have a good day. You would sit there and you'd be like, while you're being talked to. You don't do that anymore. You have a voice. You can laugh with us. You can figure out a way to build a relationship with me and build a relationship with, she sits there and watch me and Bailey kiki for hours on end. And I know she sits there and she's like, damn, I wish I could be a part of that conversation. You can. And we can have conversations of our own. Last night we had a conversation of our own, but she's so, trapped into this identity that she cannot show me she's enjoying these conversations. Like, can I go, Mom? You're the same little girl who watched me and Bailey talk for hours and wished that you could sit and talk with me for hours. And now you're talking to me for hours and you're like, oh my God, I want to go. You don't. You're enjoying it because every time I've drawn a conclusion, you drew me back in. And I'm wordy as fuck, so don't draw me back in. And so she's experiencing a space that she didn't before. Dre. Y'all done watched Dre. He's a completely different person. Michael and Caden. Everyone has evolved and changed. We are a different family. If you watch how we communicated, there's videos where we're all talking and having conversations and you can hear Angel in the background. Bailey, Dad, Mom, just being ignored. Because we're having a conversation and a child is trying to get into it. No. We all are having a conversation now and anyone can participate. I'm no longer looking at your contribution as some silly stuff that kids say. No, that is you processing life through your lens. And that's something that I had to recognize when I recorded Michael and Caden having their conversation about, how not to get kidnapped, going to the park. I'm watching that, I'm listening to that conversation under my old lens. I would have been like, stop having that conversation. You speaking dumb stuff. I wouldn't have saw that a 6-year-old and a 4-year-old are processing life the way that they see it. And I must allow that space to happen in order for them to become comfortable with having conversations. You know, I'm sitting here struggling, trying to get my husband to start speaking to me. But the beautiful thing today, after we had our disagreement, you know, he left, he took the kids to school, he came back and he was like, hey, and he talked to me. And so I almost got ready to be like, no, that's not what that meant. And he's like, and I stopped myself. I was like, how the hell do I know what he meant? If he's telling me this is what he meant, then this is what he meant. So I apologized. And I was like, you're right, I apologize. I shouldn't tell you what you mean. So if you say that's what you mean, then that's how I receive it. So we're constantly checking ourselves. We're constantly learning how to communicate. We're constantly evolving. And that happened in the last 6 months. In the last 6 months ago, Dre wouldn't have spoke back to me. Dre would have just went on Facebook and posted his little angry Dre and been mad at me. You know, 6 months ago, he would have said if he said what he had to say, I would have said, you're lying. You're just saying and trying to justify. I wouldn't have believed his truth. So we have made so many strides in 6 months. And I'm so proud of our family. I'm really proud of us. And I see where we're going. But I thought the last Mohican was Dre. But what I realized is I had to, because women run everything. And I don't mean that in a derogatory way. I just mean that in a matter-of-fact way. Women run everything. Not run everything. Women are, whatever. Y'all know we in charge. We run everything. Shit. Who runs the world, girls? We ain't listening to Beyonce, but she done said something. Anyway. So I realized how the evolution went down. The evolution went down with mom first. Why? Because mom's the head of household. No, I'm not head of household in the respect that I wear the pants, and that used to be how it was, and I can admit that because that's not the energy now. Back in the day, I wouldn't have admitted that because that's, emasculating to admit that you wear the pants in your, thank you for sharing the live, to admit that you wear the pants in your relationship. But I did. I wore the pants in my relationship, and my husband allowed because he loves me. And he wants me to be happy. So if emasculating him is what makes me happy, then he'll allow it. Even if that makes him feel like shit. As long as it makes me happy. And I don't want that for us anymore. Hey, friend. How you doing? I saw your little picture show up. How you doing? You got the last 8 minutes. And so, you know, I don't want that for us anymore. I want us to work cohesively. And Trinity done showed up. Y'all all showing up at the boom. I might give y'all extra 30 minutes. Let's have some chats. Chat some stuff in the comment section so we can have an open conversation after I finish this story. And so, you know, so much has happened over the last 6 months. Thank you all for the love. That it's amazing, but it had to start with me. Why? Because my energy dictates this house. This house either moves or stops with my energy. And so I had to check myself first. And after I checked myself, the next person was Bailey. And I think the next person was Bailey because Bailey is the one that was constantly trying to get me to wake up. So when I finally woke up and I started receiving what she's been saying, then I was like, oh no, then she was like, boom, now we cooking with fish grease. So it was me and then it was Bailey. And I started wearing Andre. And I know that the way that I did it was not effective. I know that now. I know not to argue him into submission anymore. My fingers are all swollen, so my quotes is weak. I don't need to argue him or force him into submission. I just need to, thank you for sharing. Thank you for the love, guys. I just need him to have the awareness that change is possible. in Jamaica changed our lives and saved our marriage. And so I won't say it saved our marriage in the respect that I would have gotten a divorce. It saved our marriage in the respect that he would have been over here and I would have been over here. And I would have been okay with that. And I would have held on. I started classifying some of my old videos, and I talked about why people get into these relationships and then they're not happy. It's because we fall in love with this little, I don't want to say core, because core is indicative of someone who knows who they are. And we just fall in love with this little piece of it. You know what I'm saying? But there's all this peripheral stuff that's going on. And we don't pay attention to any of that because we fell for this so quickly. And so we're locked in here, especially in this patriarchal society where we must find the one. We can't pass our little coochie around. If we decide to sleep with someone, now we have to stay with this person even though we don't like them. But I can't catch another body. Therefore, I'm stuck with the guy who hits me with a pillow with all of his force. So we have this core, and then we get together and we start learning all this other stuff. And all this other stuff is, I don't like this motherfucker, but I love them. I don't like you, but I love you. And the reason why we want to be friends first is so that we can learn all this stuff before we get caught up into this. Because someone can be Mr. Perfect and Miss Perfect for a very brief moment. And we fall in love with that. But there's all this, and we have to allow the space for all this to happen, and all this can't happen if fools rush in. All these sayings come from somewhere. And so, I don't remember what I was talking about, but I thought Dre was the last one to do the evolution. But now I'm looking at Angel, and I'm like, Angel, you ain't ever really been on board with this change. You have been reaping the benefits from this change. Everybody's treating you different and talking to you different and, trying to work collectively and cohesively with you and let you know that you belong and you're a part of this family. And you are still on the same old, you don't give a So I was like, you're next. So now I'm working on Angel. And the way that I'm working on her is through this story. And then I have to work on Michael. And then I have to work on Caden. Because we all have to get on board. We all have to become a part of this collectiveness. And I was just like, look, he's always like, man, Angel's nasty. I went to them boys' room today. When I tell you, and it happens in a day. It's not like if you were to walk into my son's room on any given day, you would be like, yo, they ain't cleaned this bitch in years. No, Caden destroys that room in a day. And there's food and there's dishes and it's just disgusting. I'll admit it because I'm fixing it. I wouldn't have admitted if I was still in it, but since I'm in the process of fixing it, I could tell you. But Dre's always like, man, Angel's nasty. And I walked in here because Dre thinks his children walk on water. My kids are flawed. And so I walk in the room this morning. I was like, it's crazy how you always tell me how nasty Angel is, but you don't say how nasty them boys are. I do say how nasty they are. I was like, no, you don't. You don't ever come like, man, them boys is nasty as He was like, I help them both clean up. I was like, stop helping them clean up. And we have to figure out how to help themselves clean up. So this morning when I went to go wake up Michael for school, Caden was awake. I was like, Caden, get up and clean this room. I was like, go get a trash bag and pick up all this trash and let me know when you're finished. Because in the past, my issue was I don't have the time or the desire to sit in this room for however long it takes you to clean it. But what I can do is give you a direction, remove myself, allow you to self-guide yourself to take care of your business, not take care of your business because mom is looming over me, but take care of your business because you know it's the right thing to do. I'm giving my children, I'm trying to figure out how to be the authority while giving them choice. Because what happened before, I was like, okay, this authority shit is killing my children's spirits. They don't know who they are because they're under the thumb. But once I took them from under the thumb, I was like, now what? And I've been trying different things and they've been failing. And this is what's new. The book with Angel and Caden and Michael, I have a timer on my phone where I post videos every 2 hours so I don't run out of space on my phone. That's why I post so much. But every 2 hours when my alarm goes off, I need to walk the house. And I need to encourage them to self-correct. Hey, let's get this together. We care about where we live. But the point I was making is, and the thing that I talk about in my long-ass Facebook post, I have my own little pig pen over here. Dre has his own little pig pen over there. You know, Bailey has her own little pig pen over there. It's the problem when the pig pennage spills out into communal areas. But why is there a pig pen in the first place? Our kids are nasty like that because we're nasty like that. We're finished with the dish and we don't immediately take it to the kitchen. We're finished eating something and we set it to the side. You know, our trash may be on our nightstand and then it gets knocked on the ground. Caden just sees it on the ground. So now Caden just throws his trash on the ground. So I was telling Dre, I was like, we are our children. Our children are just the exasperated versions of us. So we need to get our lives together. We need to be more structured. And I said, we need to stop quitting on ourselves. That is what I have been sitting on and reflecting in and becoming in this space. I'm going to run past 3 o'clock because some of you just showed up. You know, we have to stop quitting on ourselves. We have to show up for ourselves even when we don't want to. I started working out last week and I was like, you're going to quit because you always quit. But I'm not going to quit because I'm tired of quitting on myself. I have had a goal of my dream body my entire life. I'm 42 years old. When are you going to put the energy in to actually achieve a dream and achieve a vision? When are you going to stop quitting on yourself? I'm talking to myself, but I'm talking to you. When are you going to stop quitting on yourself? And I'm not talking nothing big. Stop quitting on yourself. When I was directing Caden and cleaning that room, I came in my room and I was talking to Dre because we were having a conversation. And then Caden said he was finished with something. So then I went and checked on him and I came back. And after I checked on him, I was like, okay, I'm just going to have this conversation with Dre because I need to get this done. I was like, no, you are quitting on yourself. You set the goal to start teaching your children how to be responsible and how to clean their room properly. Do not quit on yourself. The reason why your kids move the way that they move, the reason why they're polite and beautiful children, because you didn't quit on them and you made sure they said please and thank you. But they don't know how not to climb all over people. Why? Because you didn't sit them down and make them stop. They don't know how to, not say whatever the hell they're saying, because Angel was cleaning the kitchen last night. And while I'm talking to her, she's cleaning the kitchen. And I was like, this is disrespectful. And she said, how am I being disrespectful? I was like, because I'm talking to you and you're cleaning out the crisper. But then I checked myself. Because I was like, right before I made that comment, I was on her because it was 11 o'clock at night and she was still cleaning the kitchen and her bedtime is at 10 p.m. I was just like, okay, Lonnie, is she supposed to stop doing what she was told to do and got in trouble for, not in trouble, but got it brought to her attention because she's not self-correcting? Is she supposed to stop cleaning the kitchen just so you feel respected because she stopped and looked you in your eyes? That's the old regime. That's the old dictatorship. I don't need you to stop and look me in my eyes, but I also need you to be aware that what you're doing can be received as a form of disrespect. And you have to pay attention. When you have to explain your motivation to do the things you're doing, now you're in a slippery space. You know what I'm saying? I understand because I have adapted the thinking of, if she just got not yelled at, but talked to for the past 10, 15 minutes about taking forever and cleaning the kitchen, all late at night, which is an issue that she's had since she's had the kitchen as a task, why would you require her to stop cleaning the kitchen so you can have this long-winded ass conversation that is going to last an hour, and now she's up till midnight? But she looked you in the eye. You know, so we have to be aware of our hypocrisies and contradictions so that, you know what? My kids are out of school, so they're going to be calling me soon. But yeah, that was it. I think we had a good talk. Today was kind of weird. The energy was different, but Meta kept us going. Thank you, Meta. Thank you, Von Trees. Thank you, everybody who stopped in and who are still here. I appreciate you. I will be here tomorrow, 12 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is California time. So I will be here. I was looking forward to this live. Thank you so much. I was looking forward to this live, and it was what it was, and it's always going to be what it's going to be. So I'll be here tomorrow. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.